Dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to the Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey podcast, episode 330. 330. Chris.
Did you say turdy? Do you feel turdy?
Turdy. I do. I feel. Do you feel tardy? I don't feel tardy. Somebody get me a pencil.
Van Halen.
Van Halen, one of the greatest freaking rock bands of the 80s there. And hot for, yes, hot for teacher. And that was a great video, by the way.
Oh,
that was better than the Sears catalog.
Back in the glory days of MTV.
That's right.
You young bucks don't know what MTV was.
Where they actually played videos.
That's right.
Played videos, and that was one of the favorites there. Hot for teacher.
VJs, Nina Blackwood, and then they had what was the young hottie that was what was her name? Sarah or something?
Yeah.
There
was
had
all kinds.
I don't know. That's really digging deep, but yeah, MTV was super cool back in the early 80s, right? Early 80s.
I failed to mention that we are in the Rubitracks studio this evening. So
Rubitracks, yeah.
Get that out there. Rubitracks renewed for another 6 months. So Thank you, Scott, and Nick Bailey of Rubitracks for supporting the podcast.
And it's relevant because there is snow up in the. I drove over the pass this last weekend, and there's snow up there. Not much, but there's snow, and it's definitely snow up in the peaks.
Well, I've got 4 days of skiing under my belt already before Thanksgiving, which is unheard of. Usually Thanksgiving, I'll squeeze in like 2 or 3 runs at North Star and call it good, and they're not even opening. Alpine and Squaw's not opening.
Heavenly and Mount Rose are open.
Heavenly opened. Mount Rose is where I've been skiing, and I skied Heavenly on the Ribbon of Death. That was just absolutely chaotic yesterday, but that's another story. But it is snow season, and
which means
one of my favorite times of the year.
So go buy your Rubitracks.
Go get your Rubitracks. Go get your order in. Maybe you can get them. I don't know what the lead time is on them. I think it's pretty quick. I think if you order now, you could have them under the tree for Christmas, which would be pretty freaking badass.
It need to be a big ass tree.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, hey, so this episode was recorded long ago. Oh my God. Over a month ago. How long ago? This was October?
Might have been October.
I think it was October.
No, you were. I think you were down at you were at Hollister. It might have been September.
Man, it was a long time ago.
You were at Hollister. You left you left early, and then you drove up to Tahoe and so forth.
You're right. It was the May safety clinic. So the third
September
weekend,
safety clinic.
I'm sorry, September safety clinic. Got a lot on my mind right now. So third weekend in September, and we were at Hollister for the safety clinic. I just drove the truck, the Power Stroke with the Lance Life on the back, hashtag Lance Life. And I came back from there Sunday and connected with Nick Bailey and a gentleman by the name of Todd Leduc.
That's right.
You might recognize that last name because Curt Leduc, his brother, I mean, this family is off-road, has an off-road legacy for sure in Baja, stadium trucks, and with Todd, monster trucks. So it was a late one. I think I showed up at like 9:30 or something to Nick's house, and sat down with Todd, and it was Todd's first podcast. So we were his first, which is cool.
Popped his cherry, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But really freaking phenomenal, cool, interesting stories. I've always been a fan of monster trucks, and when we were kids, it was Bigfoot, right?
That's right.
Like, oh, you're going over cars, cool. Oh, you jump, okay, cool.
Something.
Well, now they're doing backflips and all kinds of
or something.
Freaking Bob Chandler, yeah. Now they're fucking doing backflips and shit. And Todd has some incredible stories about how all that goes
Dude,
down.
they make those trucks dance. I mean, they'll hop up on one wheel and like doing, doing.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you do that shit?
And it's absolute chaos in the cab, as you're about to hear. And, I was under the impression that they changed to the, standing up position, because I was in one monster truck years ago and they had developed this seat and you were standing in it, but standing up, but the seat that supported you was on springs and really absorbed the shock and everything. Well, apparently that's not the case. And holy hell. You're getting the shit beat out of you, and he's going to talk about all that and the cool stories. I mean, I didn't realize, it's worldwide, and the promoter that, all the money that is involved in this sport, and, going from stadium to stadium, and like I say, worldwide, not just in the United States. So it's a good listen. There's some good, really good tidbits in there. So thank you, Nick Bailey, for making this happen. He became friends with Todd many moons ago, and Todd happened to be in town with his wife, and Nick says, "Hey, you got to come up and record this," and we made it happen. So
cool.
Here it is. Okay, we are here. Nice remote podcast. Recording in studio. I'm going to call it Studio B, I guess. Bailey, what are we calling this?
Well, that'd be fine. I mean, we've been talking about the Rubitracks studio before. There's been an awful lot of Rubitracks through here over the past few years.
Yeah. So if you don't recognize that voice, that's Nick Bailey from Avalanche Technical, no stranger to the podcast. Welcome back.
Hey, man. Super stoked to be here. We got a good one coming tonight. I can't wait. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you teed this one up for us, so I appreciate it. I just literally rolled in from Hollister and Bay Area, and very happy to be back here in Tahoe.
Right? Quite convenient with the Lance on the back, right?
Yes. Thank God.
Home is where you park it.
That's it. So the whiskey's flowing right now, and we got a good one here. So you called me up a couple weeks ago and says, "Hey, I got special guest coming into town. VIP, red carpet, struck up the band."
Absolutely.
I heard they actually brought in the military flyover.
That's right. Cleared the airspace. Absolutely. Yeah. So, folks that have, tuned in before, we've talked about racing, some of my background, how I got back into desert racing. And, the last 2 or 3 years that I've spent time in a desert truck, in the wrong seat, the right seat, right side of the truck.
Right side of the truck. Yeah.
My very talented driver, steering wheel holder, has joined us tonight.
Steering wheel holder. I haven't heard that one before. All right. It's good. None other than Todd Leduc is here in the Heezy. How you doing, Todd?
Doing really well. I'm glad to be here for sure. This is cool.
Right on, man. This is your first podcast, I understand.
It is. This is groundbreaking.
Are you nervous? Is it nerve-wracking?
Oh gosh,
it's pretty chill here.
No. You guys, let's see. Tee me up, and hopefully I can answer some questions really, really well.
Oh yeah, you got some stories to tell. So this is going to be great. Man, where do we start? Little history. Who is Todd, and how did he get started? And he's got family history in racing.
Yeah, in his blood from day one, I'd say, because I'd guess most folks would recognize the name, but if you haven't heard Leduc before,
that's right.
It's involves the Off-Road Hall of Fame.
Yeah. My dad's Curt Leduc, legendary race car driver. He grew up back east in Massachusetts and got together with Walker Evans and those guys out west. And they was like, "Hey, Curt, you want to come out here and race with the big dogs? You want to come out to Merino Valley? And there's a track out there called Riverside Raceway." And he went out there and traveled with Walker Evans, did one of the Baja trips down there, and called my mom and said, "Hey, we're moving to California, pack up everything." And
just like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, also to my brother, multi world champion in Pro 4 trucks, desert racing, super well-rounded driver. And then I have a sister too. So yeah, racing's in our family.
Wow, that's cool. That's really cool. So what year was all that when your dad got started and moved to California?
somewhere around like 85, 86.
Okay. All right.
So I was a kid. I was young, but I remember, we moved out to Moreno Valley, and my dad was out there racing, and he had a truck called the West Coast Challenger. And he did really good. There was a lot of, like I said, all the big dogs, Roger Mears and, just Rod Hall and just the old school guys, Walker and Jack Flannery and stuff. And then my dad ended up buying some property out in a little town called Cherry Valley, California, out towards Palm Springs. He built a shop out there, and literally since I can anything I can remember is he was out there racing. So he built a little shop out there. A lot of world championship vehicles came out of there, from vehicles he's built for Rob McCachran, Steve Kelly, Scott Douglas, Dakar rally vehicles, desert trophy trucks, you name it, and it's come out of that little shop out there. And then my dad worked for a lot of other teams, honing his skills with guys like Mike Leslie and just a lot of the big teams that were in Southern California. And then bam.
What was that like as a kid growing up in a shop? I mean, for you, it was like commonplace. You didn't know any different, right?
Right. Like looking back now, it's gotta be amazing. I'm sure there was a lot of those guys coming and going at the time that who they are now, but back then they were just dudes, right? Coming by.
Oh yeah, they were just showing up, in my house, and I was like, I don't know who Rob McCachran is, no clue, But like I said, it was just everyone was super nice to us, and I just always took it for granted. I thought it was normal, my dad was building 6 cars a month, flying them out the door and stuff, and all I was doing was thinking about was riding my mountain bike in the backyard and jumping quads and riding dirt bikes with my brother and my family. So. It's not that big of a deal. I'm almost seeing a little bit with my kids, like, they're like, yeah, like, who cares? My dad's a monster truck driver. He drives desert trophy trucks. Like, who cares?
Doesn't
like,
everybody's dad?
Yeah, it's normal,
everybody's
right?
dad have a monster truck?
So, no, it was really cool. Had a pretty cool childhood for sure.
Right on. So when did you start, like, picking up motorsports? Did you start racing dirt bikes? How did your career start?
No, it was definitely in my genes, but I just didn't really quite know how I was going to make it all happen. And I was always athletically, I don't know, it was just like I love to run and ride mountain bikes and just those kind of things and stuff. But I wanted to build my career on not using the family name. I didn't know why. It doesn't really make any sense to me, but I was dead set on doing it my way.
Okay.
So so I went into a sport, downhill mountain bike racing, that no one knew our name. No one, that would open no doors for me.
Right.
Wouldn't help me get sponsors, help me travel the world or anything like that. So I just started racing mountain bikes and riding mountain bikes, and I for sure mentally was not ready for that much of a load of finding sponsorships, the stress of building a race car, traveling. I just wanted to have fun and travel. So, like I said, mountain bikes was the way to do it. And next thing I know, man, started traveling all across the SoCal thing, traveling, going up to Big Bear, started getting better and better and better, and started, working up from the amateur ranks all the way through the sportsman up to semi-pro into pro, and became number 1 in the U.S.
No kidding.
Then I won a world championship doing downhill mountain biking. And then finally, after maybe when I was around maybe 25, 26, I went to my dad and I said, hey, I want to try truck racing. I want to get away from
finally.
Where you been? Yeah, my brother was established. Like I said, my brother was winning championships in Pro Light, which is like the minier stadium trucks that travel, all across the Midwest. And I was like, I don't want to race against my dad, and I don't want to race against my brother in Pro Light because he was killing it, and it would hurt my ego. So I was like, I want to build a Pro 2 truck, one in the middle. So it was like the three bears, man. So I went with the Pro 2s, and I'm very, very glad I went that direction for sure.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, and at least for me, like this short course thing is something that I really had no exposure in until the last couple of years. And so for folks that are listening, just to give a brief rundown, I mean, the way I would describe it, the short course scene is pretty much like a giant motocross track where you're racing door to door with trucks. And at a glance on the surface, it might look kind of like a desert truck. But really, if you're there in the pits and you see them with the bodies off, it's almost like halfway between like a dirt track race car and a trophy truck.
Really?
Yeah. Tube chassis, low, tons of power. And whether, depending on the class, like Todd is saying, Pro Light has a certain set of rules, certain specified engine, Pro 2, rear wheel drive, and then all the way up to Pro 4, the 4-wheel drive trucks. So with Kyle and Pro Light, Todd and Pro 2, and then Curt was racing a Pro 4 at the time, right?
We had every pro division covered. So he's right. So Pro 4 is 980 horsepower, full-time four-wheel drive, incredibly fast vehicles. There's only one seat in them too. So same thing. It's just a driver, and you have a spotter that's outside the vehicle spotting you. And when you're out on the track, there's 40 of you smashing, banging, and at the prime back in 2007, 2008, 2009, there was almost 30, 40 trucks on the track. It was incredible, man. The sport was just exploding at that time. And, I wanted to go into Pro 2. It's a lot more finesse. So it's a big truck like a four-wheel drive Pro 4 truck, but it's only two-wheel drive. And it's just a lot of throttle finesse, just babying the truck, using momentum, riding the cushion, which is the heavier dirt up on top of the track to get more grip. And then Pro Lights were 4 cylinders, two-wheel drive, Ford Ranger, smaller trucks, little trucks. Nissan, where were they? I don't even know, but they were little trucks. So
Frontiers?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we just had every pro division covered, and then eventually we've all adapted. My brother went straight up to Pro 4 to compete with my dad and stuff like that too, and he had a lot of over 109 wins in Pro 4, just an incredible career. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Wow. I was listening to Big Rich's podcast, Conversations with Big Rich, and he had Mickey Thompson's son on. I didn't realize Mickey Thompson started the stadium truck thing. He got that thing going, I guess, back in the day, and I didn't realize that. So that was kind of fun. And now listening to this story, it's like, oh yeah, okay. And I've been to a couple stadium truck races, and I've never been in the pits though, but I've been watching as a fan, and that's badass.
Yeah. Mickey Thompson was the original starter, and then Danny, he had a son named Danny Thompson. So they all raced those stadium trucks like that. My dad never officially got into that style of racing, but that's what put off-road, I think, on the map. Was realistically even the Iron Man Stewart game right there, whatever was,
exactly
legendary game, and that's what made a lot of these guys legendary. Roger Mears and Ricky Johnson, those guys were all racing the Mickey Thompson series. Yeah, that's what I think put our sport into the big time.
Well, it brought it to people that in the cities that wouldn't be going out to Baja or anything like that to watch a truck go by, and then you're like, okay, another truck goes by. Where stadium, you can see the whole track, and with 30, 40 cars on the track, just banging it out.
In the last stretch, Todd mentioned something about kind of the pinnacle of the short course thing. But for folks that are my age or younger, right? I'm 39. Like if we're seeing the desert thing, we're growing up around that. But there was a time between 10, 20 years ago, you had stadium series running, all the short course stuff going. Desert racing was still happening. I mean, it was at a peak, right? Like you had there's never been a good way to really cover desert racing. Dave Cole and a lot of what Ultra 4 has done over the last 10 years has really changed that, right? These first person drones and really bringing that solid coverage to the off-road thing, that hasn't been around very long. But if you go back just a few years when you had these series going on, all that short course stuff, like out at Crandon, we've gone to Crandon with these guys the last couple of years. And if you haven't been to the Big House, it is life-changing. Absolutely.
It's life-changing.
It's incredible. Yeah. You see a lot of the same folks, right, walking around the pits there, run into a lot of the people that I see at King of the Hammers. So that's super cool. It's like the split in timing is almost half a year, right? So you see all these folks out at Crandon in September. Next thing you know, you're back at King of the Hammers on the lake bed in February, and a lot of the same faces are there. It's super cool. Yep. So, anyways, how did you, Todd, take it from they had made their place, all three of you guys had made your place doing the short course thing. How did you bring it back into the desert? Obviously, geographically, you were more based out west, but what was your first opportunity to race in the desert?
Yeah, we were just struggling with money. Our family was always known, for we're just hard workers, and we built our own race vehicles, and we never had money. We never had family money. We never had businesses that we would pull from to fund our racing program. So when we raced, we had to win. There was no other option. We had to live off those bonuses and sponsorships and stuff like that too. So when we started building my Pro 2 back in around 2004, 2005, my dad goes, why don't we go desert racing? We had a Class 8 truck, which is basically a trophy truck but with a stock frame rail and stock I-beams, just very, very like low budget trophy truck. They're still very fast. You can still race across the desert at 120 miles an hour, no problem, but just, wasn't wazoo. And, we built this truck on our own, and we won 7 championships competing out in the desert with those, with the Class A truck.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. And 1 year, we actually finished every mile of every race, and we did it in the fastest amount of time. We beat all the Class 1s, all the other trophy trucks, and we did it in a Class 8 truck. And, it was just absolutely incredible. So while we were building my Pro 2, it took us some time to build that vehicle. So my dad was doing the same thing. He would buy a bunch of tubing, and you go, Todd, put a tube from here to here on the ground, 2 from here to here, start building it like this. This is how you do it. And while we were doing that, slowly, I was out desert racing and was able to pull some funds from that, add it to the Pro 2 program, and get the truck going. So I learned a lot. Like my dad would drive a lot of the beginning of the events of like the Parker 400, and then I would do the last lap. He would ride with me, and that was a complete nightmare because he's like, "Slow down, turn right here." No, I'm like, "Dad, hold on. Like, let me learn. Like, I gotta learn how to drive my way. Not that your way's wrong." I never argued with my dad. He was always like, hey, don't run these steering boxes or don't do this, because I've seen him break every single part that you can ever think of. So I never argue with my dad and going, no, this is the way I'm going to do it. And, and it's like, I know, I just listened to him, never fought, but eventually he got to the point where he's like, okay, Todd, I trust you in the desert trophy truck or the Class A truck.
Yeah.
Okay, go. And next thing you know, man, we were just setting the world on fire, and we had a lot of fun out in the desert.
Wow, that is cool. So, getting into the fab side of things and learning how to bend tube and weld and all that. So you got a crash course in it all.
Oh, literally, yeah. So my brother, he was the one that taught me how to weld. So I would do the pedal, he would do the torch, and then next thing he's like, okay, grab the torch. Now I'm going to feed the rod and a little bit, and like I said, just that was after hours. So as soon as all the guys would go home, we'd be there trying to learn, just trying to teach each other welding, and then like how to do aluminum welding and how to switch everything over. And
wow.
So it's just, I learned a lot from my dad, my brother, other guys on the team. Like we had some really, really great fabricators. Like Troy, he owns the Fab School. He worked for my dad for almost 9 years.
Oh my gosh.
So like, Troy would teach me a lot. And like, so I'm literally pulling from all these legendary crew chiefs, like Lucero. He's in charge of the Vildosa team. He worked for us for 6 years. So it's like, we've had a lot of incredible people work for us, and I just tried to soak up everything from every single guy that was there, and just applied
like
that to my career.
Oh, that's freaking phenomenal, man. That's crazy.
I've made that comment before, probably not on the pod, but just with folks in the industry, how it is a small world in general, but man, in our off-road community, it's amazing. You start having these conversations and finding all those common elements between folks, right?
Yeah.
Because if you remember back to our first pod with Randy, being at the Fab School and teaching, right?
Yeah.
That was a lot of his thing. Troy was there. Randy was at, I think, was it Sandcars Unlimited for a while?
Yep.
And then went to the Fab School, was teaching, learned a lot from Troy. They're still, good friends. Obviously a big part of my life. So it's funny to hear all these stories that kind of bring it all together, right?
Yeah, this is wild. I mean, I'm a few years older than you guys, and I'm just going, holy crap. These are all people that I looked up to as a kid, in off-road.
For sure.
And they were hanging out at your house. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's got to be pretty surreal looking back on it and going, what the heck? But you didn't know as a kid. You're just like, oh, this is just what we do.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's been an incredible career so far. Like I said, that's my true passion is desert racing. Since the first time I ever stepped foot in that, in a Class 8 or a trophy truck, or my dad even had a mini 7S truck. I love the desert. I love the settling into a pace, being smart, being nice to the equipment. Because like working on these trucks, you learn a lot of like, I know how much it takes to make them live and what breaks all the time. So be careful of that and apply that, so like learning the fab side of it and the mechanical side of it, it helps a lot as a driver too, of like easy on it, easy, watch the temperatures.
You got a ton of mechanical sympathy because you got a ton of sweat equity into it. Yeah. It's not like somebody just, here's a
show up and
brand new truck, Todd, go beat the hell out of it. Yeah, no, you knew you had to fix that thing when you got back.
Or work on it while you're out there.
That's true too.
You make sure like, every bolt's tight, and if it doesn't feel right or something's cross-threading, you just pull it all back out, because like you're out there working on it and driving it. So I don't want to get stuck out in the desert for the next 9 hours.
Yeah.
So, but no, desert racing is my true passion. I seriously, that makes my soul happy. It's so much fun just flying across the desert and chasing people down. And like I said, just a strategy, waiting for wind direction to change, to when to sprint, when to lay back. And working together, you and your co-rider. It's a big dance, and you got to make it all work in 400 miles. It's
I was going to
cool.
say, you're not doing short course and stuff where you're just banging out 10, 12, 15 laps. It's like, no, we got 400 or 500 miles to lay down, 1,000 miles. Wow. So what year did you start desert racing? Like
2004, 2005.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So 10 or 20 years ago. Holy hell.
Yeah, it's a long time. Don't say it out loud.
Yeah. Okay. You're still younger than me, I think. Anyways, man, that is, so you fell in love with the desert racing and worked your way up. So you've done so many different vehicles out in the desert, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
So what's your favorite? Like, I mean, is it the top of the line truck, or are you still like the old school stuff? And what I guess as a driver, everybody wants the latest and greatest technology, but maybe that's not the best thing. It's like, what do you prefer? What's your driving style into? Yeah,
like a trophy truck's fun.
Yeah,
it's fast paced. You got to really read the terrain. It's almost like you're tracking stuff out. So like you're looking out far, far, far ahead. And then when you see something big coming, you got to track it in, clear it. And then you look back out again. So you're doing a lot of scanning out hundreds and hundreds of yards out to right in front of the truck, just to make sure you don't hit anything.
You're going so fast.
Yeah, but I've always been talking about it for years now that I'm like, it'd be so cool if they could do a Baja 1000 old style. No GPS allowed at all. You have to actually read the terrain, read the road, and really just, get lost a few times here and there. And just that needs to come back. I'm telling you, do a retro year of a Baja 1000 or Baja 500, no GPS, and see who wins.
See who's really navigators and stuff. And then you got the local screwing with you too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And changing up some track and the course and throwing in some
Rubitracks.
bomb holes and stuff out on the cheese.
Yeah. So trophy trucks, I think, is genuinely really, really fun. But, a couple of years ago, I got into the trophy truck spec world, and oh my gosh, that was so fun. It's so competitive. All the trucks are almost equal.
They're all identical, right?
Yeah, and it's just absolutely so fun. They perform just like a trophy truck. It just takes a little bit more time to get them up and moving.
Okay.
But same exact thing of just, the tactics, being smart to the vehicle, keeping momentum, especially in qualifying. Like when you're trying to shave just tenths of a second here, every curve you're just trying to save a couple of tenths, and then when you come out on top by 3 or 4 seconds, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so stressful. But that's what it takes, to get that clean air out front. It's a big deal. And but like I said, I've been thrown into vehicles where I've literally sat in them for the first time as I was driving down the pavement at the Baja 1000, and I was literally figuring out where the brake pedal was and where the light switches were to get the truck to start. And I hit the road, and I remember almost slid off the road, and just trying to get the feel of the vehicle and how much throttle response it is to get it to rotate. And then you're just like, you got to perform, and you got to perform now. And next thing you know, you see the headlights of the second guy, right behind you. Because I was leading the race one year, and you got BJ Baldwin breathing down your neck. It's not easy, man. You gotta shut that off and just focus on, like I said, outdoor motocross is a great example. You just got to look forward. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter who's behind you. Just drive forward and see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a cool point because if you're in a trophy truck, it's an unlimited class. There are certain events where there's wide open spots, and some guy might have more money. He's got a bigger, he's running a big block and he's got 1,000 horsepower, and maybe yours is 800. Still a lot, but it's different. You get into a truck like spec, you're talking about the top class, but everyone has the same engine. So it really allows a wheelman to show his colors, right? So it's kind of the pinnacle of the driver class where everyone has the same engine, is limited on horsepower. All those places where your talents really shine are going to show, because you get to that point where, hey, all these little seconds I can shave, the mechanical sympathy, right? Yeah. I can't beat on this thing, because even changing a tire, right? Seeing that rock that's kind of coming out of the side of the rut, like it makes all the difference in the world. And so that's where Todd and I, that's where our paths first crossed, was in trophy truck spec. I had been chasing for several years with Crispin Racing out of Southern California. They had a spec. It was one of the 4 legacy Armada trophy trucks that after a couple years, spec came around. They started putting spec engines in these original legacy trophy trucks, and it wound up being a match made in heaven. They were always kind of a little smaller, a little lighter for the trophy truck class, but when spec came around and you were limited on horsepower, they were just weapons. And Kerry had an opportunity that opened for a driver, and through our off-road circle, Todd and Kerry got connected, and Todd was hired to be the second driver with Kerry Chrisman. And at the time I had been co-driving for the second driver. And so by default, I remember the phone call. I was, doing whatever I was doing, hanging out here in Tahoe, and had a quick chat with Kerry. And he's like, hey, we got a new driver coming on, and hopefully, you'll be down to drive with them or ride with them. And I was like, cool, who is it? He's like, it's Todd Leduc. I was like, man, no fucking way. Are you serious? Like, you're asking me if I'm down. Like, hell yeah, I'm down. I can't wait. Look forward to it. And I think that was the Mint. Was it 21? It might have been 21. It was the year that the Mint had been delayed because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't race, right? So COVID had started. We didn't race the Mint in March of 21. It was pushed back to December. And that was the first time that we were in a truck together.
Yeah.
The Armada spec.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I said, he's like, hey, I hope you don't mind me riding with it. I was like, no, of course not. You know the vehicle already. You know how the truck's going to react. Because like I said, sometimes a good co-rider will be like, hey, man, slow down, Todd. You never driven a trophy truck spec before. Like, be careful. You can't hit stuff like that. It'll break it. So it was really, really cool to have him riding with me. And we qualified well. I think it might have been top 5. First time we ever really even gotten in the vehicle.
Wow.
And the truck was very fast. Like you said, it was a perfect chassis, the Armada, for the trophy truck spec. It's lightweight. You could drive it hard. It was super nimble. It turned when you wanted it to turn. It didn't push. You didn't have those kind of issues that you would have with a bigger, heavier engine in that vehicle. And man, we had a lot of fun. We ran well. We passed a bunch of guys on the run. He was a really great co-rider. And then it just, we had a random mechanical issue, and that ended our race. But Kerry had a great time. I had a great time. Everyone meshed really well. That it carried on to where we did a couple more mints, Bob 500. We had a really good run.
Wow.
Yeah. So the unique thing about that year is after 21 was over, the Mint was able to get back on schedule in 22, which meant it was in March. So 4 months after our first Mint, we got to have a redo, right? We had this goofy mechanical issue the first year out, full floating rear end. We lost a hubcap, and we were coming down back straightaway, and Todd's like, man, I don't know if we have a flat, but like we're losing drive. Like, something's definitely wrong. And we were both looking in the mirror trying to figure it out. Yeah. And so I get out and I walk around. I was like, no, tire's fine. And I come around the back to the driver's side, and there's a foot of axle shaft hanging out of the hub on that side. So yeah, we talked about it for a minute. Knew we didn't have the parts or the little Allen screws that are supposed to hold the hubcap on. And we decided, we found a rag. I can't remember if it was in the truck or if it was something that was on the course. And then I found a rock that had a really flat side, and we shoved the axle back in, shoved the rags on it, put the rock up against the wheel, and then got a ratchet strap and kind of laced it all through the spokes of the wheel, tightened that thing down to hold it in. And we're able to get the truck off the track. So it was a bummer. It was such a letdown, right? That we were just hauling ass, having a great time. And then
I think we were actually leading too.
It was a really good showing, right? It was Todd's first opportunity in that spec truck with the new team. We had a great time together, and came back, I guess, 4 months later in 22, and got in the truck to qualify, and Todd set the pole.
Wow.
Yeah, so second cool race in the truck. It was just one of those runs, man, that you like after it, we just looked at each other like, that was glorious. We'll see how the time holds up.
Sure.
And sure enough, it was the top time at qualifying there in the spec class at the Mint 400 in 2022. So
yeah, it gave me a lot of confidence. Like I said, when you're going into a new, class and division, you want to see if you're going to stack up with the top guys, and I've always been competitive. I will not compete unless I feel like I have a really strong chance of winning and stuff like that. And going into that division, I was kind of like, man, these guys are quick. There's a lot of great, talented drivers and stuff. And in qualifying, we had to get creative. And like those trophy truck specs, you have to put them in different spots, especially during qualifying or on the race course, than you would in a big trophy truck or a big Class A truck that I've raced in the past. So you have to kind of quickly adapt and stuff. And with driving desert one weekend and then a desert truck and then a short course truck and then a monster truck, I'm having to quickly change my mind from one driving style to another, to another, to another. So with that vehicle, I was able to do that. And like I said, it was so cool starting up front right there. And I remember everyone at that race was like, who is Kerry Crispin? Like, what, like, where did that come from? And then, like I said, everyone was super welcoming. We had a great time and we led first 2 laps, made a couple of, passes, was super smart. We just worked our way through the dust, just kept putting trucks between us and the other trophy truck specs, where if those guys in the other trophy truck specs were catching somebody, they're like, oh, dude, is Todd passing everyone? Like, I thought this would be Todd. Is this Todd? Nope, that's not Todd.
Yeah, so our assignment, right, the Mint 400, it's 400-mile laps. Todd qualified, which meant he had to start. So we got in the truck, started the race. All we did was pass unlimited trucks all day. Wow. Legends is out in front. Class 1 is out in front. Obviously, trophy trucks at the top. So, yeah, we never saw another spec the whole race. Passed quite a few during our 200 miles of race time. And it was just a blast. I mean, one of the favorite videos I have on my phone, we were running one of the cockpit cameras that was tied into the Motec. So it's got all the data overlays, right? You could see brake position, throttle position, RPM, speed. And just running down trophy trucks with the little 525 horsepower. Like, we had to do some ridiculous shit to get that done. And it was the ride of my life. It was badass. Wow. Super fun.
That's cool. So, what's one of your highlights or memory that sticks out from any of the racing, from the stadium truck, trophy truck, desert racing? It could be a funny story. It could be, a trying story where you had to survive out there, or what kind of comes to mind?
Gosh, I don't know. There's so many. Winning my first Pro 2 World Championship was pretty incredible. That was awesome. It was at the Big House at Crandon, Wisconsin. Okay. So that's a little town in northern Wisconsin. I would say about 2.5 hours north of Green Bay, Wisconsin, to try to give you somewhat of a bearing. Sure. And it's absolutely incredible. It's a town of 2,500 people that pulls in maybe around 60,000, 70,000 fans in a weekend. It's insane. And, you're sitting on the starting line. That's the only off-road short course race in the world where you do a straight, all of us are in an inline straight. Okay. There's no 2x2.
Yeah,
it's
you're
a
all
land rush
on
start.
Line. Yeah.
Land rush start is the technical term for it. And we're sitting there, dude, and there's 25 of the biggest racing egos in the world, and you're sitting there, and the guy climbs up into the tower, and he slides the board across from yellow to red, or from red to yellow, and he's holding that green flag. And as soon as you see the flagman even flinch, you're full throttle, and there's 2 rollers. There's one roller, so you're usually in first gear in the Pro 2 over that one. As soon as you're in the air, you never lift, which is a big no-no usually in racing. You hit second gear, and your second gear, you hit third gear as soon as you land off the second roller, and you're just full throttle. And it goes from about 20 of you to 10 to 3 to 1, and I remember distinctly, looking over going, I'm not lifting, so I hope you lift, and it fades off. It's a fading off to the right, blind turn. And, and it's just crazy. And you're flying around this turn where if you're not correct, or you're not having that vehicle in the right spot, it could hike up onto 2 wheels. And I've seen Johnny Greaves, my dad, a bunch of big dogs crash at a very high rate of speed there, and it could hurt bad. Sure. So going into that turn, you just got to put that in the back of your mind, do what you're there to do, and that's win and pull that hole shot. And there's no better feeling just flying in front of all those 65,000 fans along the grass hill to your right. You just cheering, going like, "Yep, no one could beat me to that cool. Turn 1." And then from there, you got, like you said, about 12 laps to hold it together and get that truck to the finish.
Wow. That's cool stuff.
What about you, Nick? You have a cool story?
Oh, man. I would say, let's see, from Mexico. So I think, so Todd and I in Mexico only got to race part of a 500 together. But it was, let's see, 22 Baja 500, something like that. And we hadn't raced, the team had not raced the San Felipe 250. So at the time, that's how SCORE was determining their starting position. They weren't necessarily doing qualifying for all the races. If you had raced and finished a race before, that's how your starting position was determined.
Okay.
So we were pretty far back. And that race, typical of a 500, I guess, you get up and out of Ojos Negros, run south, and then cut across the top towards San Felipe, go over the mini summit. And this particular year, I guess it's typical down there in June, it's dry. And the mini summit is like a shelf road section. Pretty unique terrain for Baja. You get up there and like you're driving on marbles.
Really?
And when you're coming from the back and you're charging hard, like, man, it's just, you want to get out, you want to make passes. But as we're running down the course, big names, we're seeing all these folks that have slid off the track. And wound up going from all that adrenaline and everything going crazy, coming down the mini summit, dropping to Laguna Diablo, and there was a big old fucking pile up. And so just that mental like change where you go from just kill mode, right? You're running guys down, you're like just skating off the edges of all these corners, and then next thing you know, there was like a 5 or 6 car pile up. Like everyone just dead stopped. We had trucks high centered on boulders, and it's one line. Like you're not going, if you were trying to drive around these cars, you'd just go off a cliff, right? Total shelf road deal. So it was unique. Next thing you know, there's like helicopters swirling. People are out of the trucks. It was like we're hanging out all of a sudden.
Now it became a trail ride.
Oh my gosh. It was like, of all the racing that I've done, it was pretty unique. Friends of ours race with Mango Racing out of Colorado, and their trophy truck was actually directly in front of us. Early on in the pileup, it had maybe made a little move to kind of go around and was slid halfway off the trail. So we got to do some recovery work, which is kind of my MO,
your forte. Yeah.
So Todd's like, what do you think, man? Like, we can get these guys back on? And I was like, well, we got nothing else to do, right? We're just kind of sitting here in this pile up. And so we went, chatted with him really quick. And Todd's like, all right, well, make sure we tell them. We'll pull them back on the course, but only if they let us go in front. What's this? Trail tampon is cleared.
Yeah.
Right? So sure enough, we strapped them up. Todd was able to pull the trophy truck back on with our spec. And once the pileup was cleared, those guys, just gentleman courtesy, pulled right to the side.
Wow.
We went flying by on our way. It was I don't know if it was the greatest, but it was a really fun experience to just have everything piled in, just a full sprint and getting to do some recovery. I mean, Mexico is magical. Anybody that has the opportunity, if you have not raced down there, no matter what happens to you, I promise it'll be a good memory because that place is just a blast.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm going to retire there for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, my dad lives down in Ensenada. It's a little area called Estero Beach. My dad bought a house down there, and he loves it, and same thing with me. I don't know what it is. It's just Mexico's just so much different pace, different kind of people. I love it down there. So hopefully, when I'm old, I want to go live down there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Taco Tuesday every day.
Yeah, that's right. So there was a little mention in Todd's last segment about monster trucks.
Yeah.
But, I don't know that we had talked about it yet. So
we haven't.
How do monster trucks fit into this whole picture?
I don't know. You asked me a question.
Isn't that a question? Okay. So 2000, you're racing short course. 2005, you get into desert racing. But at some point, we've seen you on the television driving a Monster Energy truck, a giant shark Megalodon monster truck.
Megalodon.
So how did that transition happen? How'd you get into the monster truck scene?
Dude, that's a super good question. Yeah. So I grew up in Southern California. So Anaheim Stadium was right down the road from our house. And Monster Jam was going there. And I knew a couple of people that worked at Feld Entertainment. That's who owns Monster Jam.
Okay.
And they own Supercross, Disney on Ice, a lot of big entities.
Wow.
So they invited me down.
Don't tell me you ice skate too.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So my brother and I went to the show and we sat front row, and I was like, dude, this is really unique. This is super cool. This has got me written all over it. So after the event, I was just blown away by what those machines could do. It was absolutely incredible. And so I started talking with some of the management at Feld Entertainment. I was like, who owns these trucks? Like, how much does it cost to build one? They're like, oh no, we own them all. I'm like, okay, who maintains them? Do I need to have sponsorships to run this program? He's like, no, we pay for everything. I'm like, are you kidding me? What? I can do this full time. I could drive trucks. They're like, yeah. But right now, we're not looking for males. We're looking for females and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, I'd like to throw my name out there.
Like, hello.
It seems the management of Feld was more concerned about an old wooden ship.
Yeah.
Diversity.
Ron Burgundy over here.
Shout out, Ron.
Ron Burgundy. I love it.
So there was a last minute cancellation at Feld Entertainment. They were having a tryout in Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. That's where Gravediggers was created, and they have a test facility there. And they called me up 3 or 4 days before, and they said, hey, a driver backed out the last second. Do you want to come out and test? And I said, I'll be there. Flew out and showed up to this little sandy field in Kill Devil Hills, right where I think it was right near Kitty Hawk, where the Wright brothers did the first flight ever. And they strapped me into a monster truck. Not a seat fit for me, nothing. And I brought all my desert gear and all my short course stadium truck racing stuff. Yeah. And I got in the truck. And of course, when you're racing short course in desert, you want to have a little bit of like loose straps for like your Hans and your head restraints so that you can pick out your pivot points, look around the vehicle to switch on switches and stuff like that too. So I use all that into the monster truck. That was a big mistake. I almost broke my neck.
Are you? Oh man.
Yeah.
So are you sitting down or are you standing up? Because some of those you're kind of like standing up in, right?
Yeah. So back then it was transitioning away from those unique styles of driving the monster trucks. Yeah. So it was 100% a seat, a hard mounted seat.
Okay.
So like I said, the first time I ever sat in one of those Monster Jam trucks, I vividly remember going like, dude, did they forget to put nitrogen in these shocks? They land terrible.
Oh, I bet.
And they're violent, and to do any kind of big air, you got to be a different kind of man. It's it does not feel good.
So it's no longer a flying couch.
No,
yeah, that's it. I was thinking because I've seen monster trucks up close and obviously watched them, and yeah, there's nothing smooth about them. And you're going from arguably one of the smoothest off-road vehicles, a Class A trophy truck there with just the flying couch, to something that's just like a pogo stick, basically.
Yeah, pure violence.
Yeah, pure violence.
Yeah.
Unapologetic violence.
Yeah, so it was really cool. So I drove around this field, jumped around, and they said, they had a pretty good school set up there, but it was very, very basic. So they said, Todd, just put the truck in first gear, second gear. Okay, cool, shut it off. And then they said, okay, now try jumping this jump. Now try jumping this jump a little bit higher. Now try doing a figure eight. Pretend this is an arena. Pretend this is a stadium. And then they said, do a freestyle, for 2 minutes. Just be creative and try your own stuff, And I remembered I did a big jump and landed. The front wheel flew off and bounced across this field. And I thought I was going to get yelled at. And they were just laughing like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. 2 seconds. And yeah, it was super fun. They said, dude, you're pretty good. Actually, you're really, really naturally good at driving these Monster Jam trucks. I'm like, well, thanks. It's basically just a big, high Pro 2 or Pro 4, And they said, okay, your first show's in Nashville. Good luck.
Jesus. Did you have fun in the thing, or were you like, what am I doing in this?
Oh, no. The second day of testing, we did 2 days of testing. The first day was basically just little stuff and getting us used to the truck to see if it scares us or not. And then the second day I was so sore. My neck was so sore. I didn't even want to drive.
Yeah.
It was bad. The flight home I was like, dude, do I want to do this for a first quarter? But, I was thinking marketing wise. I was thinking, I was looking at guys that were racing like Brian Deegan, where they were doing freestyle motocross, Pro 2. They were doing all these other supercross. They had a big umbrella. I call it an umbrella. So I was like, I'm going to build my umbrella. I'm going to do desert racing, short course, and monster trucks. So when I went to a sponsor like Rockstar Energy Drink or Monster Energy, I was like, hey, you're getting me in all these genres. You're not sponsoring 3 different drivers. You can just sponsor me.
Sure.
And you're getting the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
And that really, really worked for me. So if anyone else is trying to do that for sponsorships or
it's pretty genius marketing right there.
Yeah,
it you're
works.
Spreading yourself out, thin. I mean, you got a lot going on, but yeah, that's as a business or somebody that's looking to throw some dollars at something. I mean, that's like, yeah.
And from my perspective too, I mean, that geographically makes a ton of sense, right? If you picked like the big areas where each of those is popular, you kind of cover from West Coast to Midwest to the South
Sure.
and the East Coast, right?
Sure.
You get to stadiums and a lot of those denser populations where there's not room to run. Monster trucks are a big deal, right? You come into a stadium, you don't have exposure in any of these big cities to the world that we live in, right?
Right.
Full drive and doing wild shit like that outside of the monster truck world in a lot of places.
Yeah, and I think to a certain extent, I did help bring a lot of awareness to off-road racing, because they were always promoting that, like, oh, Todd Leduc comes from off-road truck racing and off-road truck racing. So I think I did help, build the world of off-road and desert and bring it to more bigger cities, like you said, Des Moines, Iowa, to Miami, where people would never see a desert race or even know what it is.
Right.
And then, boom, we're helping it bring it to
gives you something to Google. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's good.
That's a great point. So then, say you're like, okay, what am I doing in this thing? You're sore, but obviously you stuck with it and evolved from there.
Yeah.
So take us down that little journey of, okay, you got back in another monster truck and you were in a stadium now competing.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I won't lie. Because I remember going to my first arena show. It was Nashville, Tennessee, and there was 2 cars stacked up. Basically, if you took a car and put it on its side, and then they put another car on its side, so there was 2 of them pinched together like a spine, if I had to describe it, and just a little bit of dirt. And I was driving up to it going like, if I hit that, I'm going to flip over backwards. So, but some of the other drivers, we're all kind of to a certain extent on a salary. So there's no winning bonuses. So none of us we're all super cool with each other, helping each other out. So a lot of the other seasoned drivers were like, Todd, just roll up to it, give it a little bit of gas, lift off the gas or apply brake. Cause they're a lot like an RC car. That tire momentum
Helps
changes a lot of the pitch, the angle and rotating speed of the vehicle. So I was able to just put on the brake, the truck nosed over. I was like, oh my gosh, that worked. That was cool. So I learned a lot. My very first stadium show was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I won racing. And that's when everyone was like, "Who is this Todd Leduc guy?" Same thing. The sport never knew the Leduc name. No one knew who I was. Nobody knew our family. No one looked at me differently or gave me a different level of respect. It was like, all right, who's this new guy?
Yeah.
And to win that race was big time, man. And then from there, it just turned into a wildfire, man. Won 2 world championships back to back in Metal Mulisha. So I drove Blue Thunder the first year. They switched me right away to a Metal Mulisha truck, which is Brian Deegan, Hayden Deegan. They race, outdoor, like that's the Deegan family. So he owned a business or t-shirt company called Metal Mulisha. I said, Brian, this is a big deal out here. You got to sponsor a truck and make me the driver, because Monster Jam was always like dog trucks and shark trucks and cow trucks, and I'm like, bro, we got to bring something else, edgier, something that's more unique, a little bit more darker and stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So we signed a 3-year deal with Brian. He made me the driver. We won a freestyle world championship. I did a really giant jump at Vegas. Vegas was our world championship. That was like our big.
That was Sam Boyd.
Yeah, Sam Boyd Stadium. So I came flying into the stadium. I hit the very first ramp on the exit of the entry ramp and did a jump all the way across the stadium, all the way to the middle. Did 2 backflips. I've never done a backflip in my life in a monster truck. And I did the first one, landed it. I drove over to the other side of the stadium and did another one. Pure luck. It was my night.
I'm feeling it. I'm in the zone, baby.
Yeah, so that was 2014 and won my very first world championship right there. And then boom, we were a household name. It was one of the biggest jumps ever in history in a monster truck, and then backed it up with
what was that landing like?
Violent. So same thing. The track was just covered in jumps. That year they went just crazy on jumps. They built jumps everywhere. And in Monster Jam, they paint a lot of the ramps. And by the time I went, maybe around 19 out of like 26 or 24 trucks, the whole track was brown. There was no definition. There was no edges. You couldn't see any detail. The lights are in your face. Dust is flying everywhere. And so I told my mechanic, hey, man, let's take the hood off. I want to make the hood like almost like to where as soon as I jump, I want it to fly off.
Okay.
So we loosened up all the bolts. On the hood. So that as soon as I landed off that big jump, it ejected the hood and I was able to actually see, because those monster trucks, you sit really low and it's hard to pick up, your left front corner, right front corner. It's hard to see detail, So I wanted that hood gone so I could see like a Class 1 buggy. Sure. I wanted to see through the tires. I want to see the ground of like what's happening. And it helped big time and won that world championship. Backed it up with a 2015 won a world championship doing that. So it was just like, and then from there, just 15 years drove monster trucks.
So talk about the progression of trucks from the first one you launched the front tire off of. Did you have rear steer right from day one, or was it solid rear axle?
No. So the monster trucks the front tires are turned by a steering wheel, and then the rear tires are turned with a toggle switch or right hand toggle switch. Some drivers do use their left hand, but I prefer my right. So you can turn the rear separately completely, and you can lock it out too. So there's basically, when you're driving a monster truck, you feel like a drummer. You got both your feet, gas and brake. You got the steering wheel. You got your right hand driving the rear steer. You got the shifter doing this. Like you're doing everything all at once, man. It looks like you're doing a tap dance in there, and you're flying around. So you're just, as you're driving, it just becomes instinctual, where you're like, oh, the shifter's here, downshift. Oh, I'm about to flip over the front. Is it brake right here? Like your internal gyro just gets stronger and stronger as you go throughout the years. And like you're around 8 or 9, it just becomes normal.
So going from solid axle trucks and everything, going to something like that where you got rear steer, how fast did you pick up rear steer?
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because they have a self-center too, so there's not much thinking. So as you're holding it over to the right,
it stays.
You release it self-centers back up. So you don't have to worry about that technical side of it too.
Gotcha.
So it's not very difficult, but it's just learning how, because there's different ways of crab walking.
Yeah.
Whereas you're turning right with the front, you can turn right with the rear too. That causes the truck to crab walk sideways. So sometimes when you're driving a track where the tracks are a lot more slick, you want to drift around the track like that. If it's a more tighter, you want to do turning left and turn left with the rear steer. So it's just all these different ways. You got to quickly adapt to all those conditions.
So safety gear and stuff, I got to imagine, changed as you were progressing through that sport, and how, like I say, I thought drivers were like more standing up towards but is it still sit down or
it's sit down?
It is. Okay.
So there was one guy that did a truck, I think. It was like on Discovery Channel, and so that was pretty common question for sure for a while there. And then but with my setup too is like a lot of guys have issues with the impacts are violent. They really are. It can hurt your back, it can hurt your sternums, it can hurt your legs. Like I said, when you're crashing and there's a lot of equipment going on there, so like you got to really hold your core tight, keep your legs from bouncing off the roll cages, your hands tank slapping off and hitting the parts of the equipment on the side. But the biggest, most important part of your safety in that truck is the head restraint. And so there's different versions of it. I use an R3, which is a little bit more older technology, but it's a back plate that pinches between your back and the seat, and it holds. I always had issues with, especially the women drivers, is under hard impacts. Your butt, you're smushing. When that smushes, your seatbelts go loose, and the head restraint that's 100% held on by the seatbelt pressure causes the slip, and you have issues with rolling forward. So with the R3, I never had that issue because it goes down more than half, or about a foot or 18 inches down your back.
Wow!
So even when you compress, you're still tight against the back of the seat. So that saved me, and I think gave me the career as long as I did. Because I've seen guys fade out so quickly due to injuries or just chronic pain every day that they eventually have to just step away. So I was able to survive for 15 years. It was cool.
So what was the first backflip like?
It was crazy. Like, it was in that World Finals 2014, and I just drove up to it, and I hit the container, and I didn't know how much gas to give it. You don't know, and like, it is weird because as you drive up to it, you got to pull it back. You got to slow down, and then as soon as the front tires hit, that's when you wrap it. And as soon as you go up, you're climbing, and it's just not a natural feeling in a four-wheel vehicle. It's a really strange feeling, and when you hit the windshield, the Lexan windshield rattles, and there's lights everywhere, and you're looking straight up at the sky, and the next thing you see, 12,000 fans upside down screaming or holding their breath. And then when you finally start to get the truck to rotate, you got to keep the tire speed going. And then finally, when you start to see dirt, that's when you got to lift off the gas. And then when you feel like the truck is going past center or almost level, then you got to apply brake. Because if you don't, the truck will bounce into another backflip or cause a recoil. And you're, next thing you know, you're going, I'm going over again. And, and so it's just, there's a lot going on. But once you learn that sequence and that timing, it gets easier and stuff. But there was a few times where I've experimented with doing a trick called the Leduc loop, where I hit a backflip container more than double the speed you're supposed to, and I was able to do like a 50-foot high backflip flying through the air in Nashville, Tennessee, at the World Championships, and it was pretty unreal. So if you do look it up or whatever, you look it up and there's a shark flying through the air, that's me.
the Leduc loop. I like it. Oh my gosh. That's wild. Because we've never had monster truck driver on here, but it's always something, you see, and it's amazing going from, Bigfoot was like our big thing growing up. And it was like, okay, they're going over cars and stuff, big deal. And then you guys started doing these backflips and insane stuff. And that was an interesting comment you made earlier. Is like, these guys are getting salaries. It's not like, you're competing obviously for probably bragging rights afterwards or whatever, but that's cool that they kind of, took you under the wing, so to speak, and said, okay, well, here's how you do some of this stuff. But then I'm sure they let you figure out other shit too. They didn't give all their secrets away.
No. Once I won my first event, it was all those doors
they got
quickly.
Quiet.
Lips are zipped.
Yeah, no, but it is. We all watch each other's back. There's no doubt about it, and that's what's unique about our sport too, is you're sitting there watching other drivers do these tricks. Like now we're doing stoppies. We're able to get the monster truck from four wheels on purposely getting up onto the front tires and balance the vehicle on just the front tires and walking across the stadium. And a lot of those tricks, honestly, they evolve from mistakes.
Okay.
Somebody will land and whatever, and they'll get kicked, and they're going towards the wall at a high rate of speed, and they're trying to apply brake but not crash, and all of a sudden it turns into a trick, and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I just witness? And then you start going like, dude, I'm going to try that. Yeah. I want to try it next week. Cool. So there's a lot of trial and error. So like as you go to an event, that's what's cool about monster trucks is there is no practicing. You're practicing tricks and doing these tricks in front of all these fans. So I go to Minneapolis. I try to do a stoppie the first time, and I crash over frontwards and land on my roof, and I'm like, I just look like an idiot in front of 30,000 fans. And then the next week, you have to wait another week, and you're sitting there stewing on it, going like, okay.
So you don't get to go back out to the sand pit and screw around and figure shit out.
No. And then you try it, and then you underdo it. And then, okay, next week, you overdo it, but it looks super squirrely. And next thing you know, after 5 or 6 weeks, you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing here. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're off and running. So you just got to evolve, and
yeah, it seems like those trucks are so self-destructive that like your run time is all prime time, right?
Right.
It's like anytime you get behind the wheel, you click that steering wheel on, it's like just thousands of dollars are at stake, right? There's really every time I've been to a monster truck show, like parts are flying, and so it makes sense. It's logical that that you're going to try to minimize run time. Anything that happens, even when stuff goes wrong, tends to be exciting. So you may as well get that in front of the fans.
Exactly. So, who's son of a digger, grave diggers? What's his name?
Ryan.
I mean, because he was doing some pretty incredible stuff too. So I got to imagine you guys talked a lot, or friends, or you buddy up with any of these people out there? Or?
Yeah. We got friends and cliques. They're definitely guys that you gravitate towards, and our sport's pretty unique. Like I said, like there's drivers that, can just stay up all night long. And then I'm the guy who goes to bed early and is at the gym, and still we can perform at the same level. Ryan's an incredible driver. His dad's a legendary driver. His name is Dennis Anderson.
Yep.
He created Gravedigger, and he has a brother named Adam and a sister named Kristen, and he has another younger brother named Weston. It's a family dynasty, and I always wanted my brother to compete in monster trucks, so it could be like the Leducs against the Andersons, and But my brother just never really wanted to do it. But it's incredible. There's some serious talented drivers.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that I was definitely butting heads with all the time. Because the Andersons, they always wanted to keep that name high. Like when you think of monster trucks,
sure,
you want to think like your family name wants to be the first one that comes up. Even with off-road, that was us. Like, oh, off-road trucks, like, oh, like the Leducs, or like, oh, monster trucks. So you mean like Andersons or Tom Mentz and Max D? So, and then when you got a guy like me coming out from the West Coast, winning all these races, it's frustrating. But Ryan's super, super good driver. Tyler Meninga, Tristan England, Zach Garner. There's so many talented drivers, and especially at the end of my career, these guys are, 10 years plus younger than me, and I'm out there trying to still battle with these guys. Wow. I'm like, oh, you think you can do that better than me? Watch this, and the rivalry's real. It is. Like when we're out on the track, there's no rigging the events or letting each other win. Like
it's legit.
We're fighting, man. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it, you know, so we're out there even in the locker room after the event. It's like, dude, like, you know, when a guy won't look at you, you know for a fact you're in their head.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All
you know,
right.
and or when they do an interview like, "Oh, hey, what do you think about Todd Leduc and his run last week in Atlanta?" And they're like, so anyway, you know, I'm here to, you know, I'm like, "Oh, I'm in this guy's head." You know, so it's, you know who wins? It's the fans. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you know, when he thinks he did a better trick and I one up him, and then there's another guy who wants one up me.
Stuff.
It's the fans get the win. It's pretty cool. It's pretty unique.
And then it's got to be cool. So pre-show, I know, you know, the kids are coming up and stuff like that. And I mean, what's it like with the fan base? Because you're more interacting, I got to imagine, with the fans in a monster truck than you are in a desert truck or anything
you become,
else, right?
Yeah, certainly. Way more of a celebrity in that sport. That exposure, you know, the draw, you're in metropolitan areas, right? So you get families and all sorts of people from walks of life. Like we said earlier, that's their exposure to the off-road world. And there's nothing else in their life that's like what they're seeing in that event. So you go, you do a pit party, and you've got a lot of kids, you know, people that wouldn't necessarily show up at a desert race.
Oh, no, they would never show up to the desert race. You know, so that's what's unique and really smart with Monster Jam is they have a thing called the pit party. So usually around 3 to 4 to 5 hours before the event, when we're driving, we're meeting fans. So they open up the stadium. You're able to walk down onto the floor, look at all the jumps, touch the trucks, meet the drivers, ask those questions, take pictures, get merchandise signed. And, you know, that's what really, really makes you a megastar. When, you know, when people go home and they're like, dude, that Todd guy was so nice, or, you know, Bryce Kenny was super nice. You're the guy who drive the Mohawk Warrior truck. And that's what puts us on the map. You know, I still to this day, I'll be at a Costco and I'll be sitting there waiting to get a piece of pizza. And some lady's like, are you Todd? Like, my son has a poster of you and your monster truck in his room. You know, and it's pretty crazy. You touch a lot of lives, you know, and we meet some great fans from older folks, you know, and to all the way down to kids where I was like, at my very first event, I was 4 and now I'm 19. And
wow,
you know, and we work with kids that are autistic. We do charity events, meet and greets, make a wish.
That's cool.
It's super, super cool. To me, it's not that big of a deal, but to a lot of these little kids, man, you're their hero.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't take much to just say hi to them, be nice, and like it does get old sometimes. You know, it just, those days get long. You know, you're traveling across the world and you fly from Phoenix, Arizona to Holland, and you barely sleep. You do pit party. You got to be nice from the first person that comes through that line all the way to the very last one.
Right. You got to keep the showmanship up.
Yep.
Right?
And then you run from the floor from doing pit party. You're in the back. You quickly grab some lunch. You get dressed. You have to sometimes do a celebrity meet and greet. Then you're flying up to the grandstands to do an interview, running back down. You're getting into your truck, and then you're doing an event for the next 3 or 4 hours. And then after that, you're getting undressed, and then you're doing a thing called an after party.
Sounds like quite the after party.
Yeah.
Getting undressed.
So then people are, you know, paying extra money to meet you after the event. So it's just, you know, you're getting pulled a million ways, but it's cool. It's fun.
Like any other entertainer, I guess. That's why. What's a good or bad interaction you've had with one of your fans? Like what something that stands out there that signing something strange or a weird awkward selfie or
a lot of that kind of random stuff. Yeah, just people sending you weird stuff in the mail to your home or just stuff like that too. People follow you, just like random stuff like that too. But I'm just like, hey, like, I'm just a monster truck driver. Like, good grief, man. But you know, it is what it is. So, you know, it's just a personal space sometimes. Like, I get it. Like when you're out eating dinner and, you know, people are like standing there. It's just like, hey, hold on a second. Can I just finish my meal? Or, you know, just stuff like that. But it all comes with it. Like it literally is part of the job. You can't complain about it. So I'm always happy to do it and stuff like that too.
What's the weirdest thing that a fan sent you?
Oh my gosh, random pictures, just really? Super strange. I one time autographed a person's arm and they got it tattooed. My autograph tattooed on their arm.
That's a true fan right there.
That's some dedication.
That is dedicated right there. That's pretty crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That wasn't you, was it, Nick?
Look at his arms. Look at his arms.
Tap free.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy. So you have retired from the monster truck scene.
Yep. Yeah. This year I
Oh,
called
yeah.
it January
Okay.
4th. So I was
July.
or July 4th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, it was 15 years, man. It just nagging pain and traveling, living in hotels. It just eventually gets old.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's crazy to say it out loud. People, their dream would be to
Yeah, I want
get
to drive a
paid.
monster truck.
Yeah, to get paid to travel the world and drive giant trucks, you know, on someone else's dime. But it just gets old. I have 2 boys that are 12 and 9.
Okay.
And like I said, I just wanted to just be normal, slow
Sure.
down. And before I did something to the point where I really...
Well, and that's the other thing. I
Yeah.
mean, 15 years getting the shit kicked out of you in a monster truck. I mean, I knew they were violent, but to listen to you and see your face, I'm like, man. I mean, I guess you learn to deal with it, and you're like, learn to relax when you're landing and not be all tense. And yeah, I
Yep.
mean, that's just crazy, just part of the gig. But I thought there was better suspension, cushier ride for them than, because it looks violent on TV, but I apparently it's the same way in the driver's seat.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So about 2 years ago, it started the conversation of stepping away.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, I just started kind of warning Feld and, talking with my girlfriend and my family and stuff. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to call it here soon. Mm-hmm. Started getting all my ducks in a row and started figuring out what my next steps are after Monster Jam. And then I made an official announcement. I always wanted to leave Feld on good terms. Even in short course, if I said I was going to do something, I did it.
Uh-huh.
Even if I ran out of money, I never, didn't finish anything contractually and stuff like that too. So I told Feld, I want to leave on good terms. I'm giving you a year's heads up so you can find a backup driver to fill in for me eventually here. And I said, hey, this is going to be my last World Championships on July 4th. I want
So you
to
made it very clear you didn't just go peace out and walk off. Yeah.
Yeah, and just be rude to the fans,
Sure.
rude to the company who's, gave me pretty much everything I've have up
Wow.
until this point. And so they said, okay, are you sure we don't want you to leave? And I was like, no, it's just my time. I know it. It's just in my brain. I know it.
Smart.
It is what it is. So
Yeah.
we went into the World Finals this year, which was in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
We had kind of an up and down year getting up to, I had about 18 events this year, 18 weekends in a row. Literally
Wow.
every weekend in a row, I'm smashing my body,
Wow.
barely recovering, and then going right back to it next weekend and week. So luckily we have incredible technicians and mechanics. My vehicle always needed 2 mechanics because I was a lot harder on equipment. But I warned them, said the same thing to them, like, hey, I want to step away. It's been incredible. It's nothing personal. And we went into the World Finals this year with some high hopes of trying to win a World Championship, and like I said, qualifying, everything with the whole setup of World Finals was super unique this year at Salt Lake City compared to any of the other 25 or 26 that have been in existence. So I was like, I want to race on Saturday. I just told Feld Entertainment, I want to race on Saturday, freestyle on Sunday, so I could beat my body up, destroy the truck, and go home. So I got lucky enough I got what I wanted. I was able to race on Saturday, qualified well. My group was, I think there was, how many were in?
You were there, right, Nick?
Yeah, Nick was there.
Yeah, my wife and I were fortunate enough to get the invite, so we rolled across the desert, right, all the way across Nevada, across Bonneville, and it was a sweet event. Really cool setup there at University of Utah in their stadium. They had a little peristyle that went up, and it was a neat track. So I think the way they split it up, it had to be a dozen, maybe 14.
14 each day, I think.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Correct. So we qualified second or third in my group, my heat, which was good. We were right with the leaders. We were second actually, and incredibly tight. It was less than 100th between us and the leader of qualifying. So I was like, okay, perfect. We're seated. We get a bye run. So I get to pick what lane I want to race in.
Okay.
And then from there, I get a bye run. So the first top 4 drivers of the Saturday and Sunday group got to pick. So I got a bye run, and we got thrown to the wolves, man, right away. We raced a female driver, Brianna Mahan. She drove Scooby-Doo, beat her. And then the second round was Tyler Meninga, like I think a 3-time stadium champion, incredibly fast gravedigger driver. We beat him by literally half a tire. Incredibly close. And the track was really unique where we started up on a pod, facing away from each other on either side of the stadium. We drove away from each other, up a wall, and we drove up into the grandstands, like on the seats.
No kidding.
They covered it with dirt. So you did a big U-turn, turned around, came back down the hill. That's when you're actually able to see the other driver and where they're at, if they're faster than you, if you need to catch up, and everything like that. And you can hear them beside you, but you can't see them, but you can hear them. And so you do a big tabletop in the center. You land. You turn back away from each other. I would always fade left. The other driver would fade right. And then we go down the straightaway all the way back towards the grandstands again, where we drove up, like I would say at least 200 feet up onto the grandstands, do another big U-turn again, and then back down the track. So you're barreling down the track at probably close to almost 50 miles an hour, 60.
Jesus.
And then, you're doing a 100-foot tabletop to the finish line. Land, you got to get the truck slow down. You got another guy beside you who's tank slapping, bouncing back and forth because he's getting buck wild, or she is, and you just come to a complete hole and you're like, did I get it? And you try to back up really quick, spin around, look up at the Jumbotron to see if you win, and it's this incredible nail biting experience for the drivers and the fans, I think.
That's cool. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was a great setup. The other thing that's cool about, most of the monster truck events are split into the two disciplines, racing and freestyle. And in my life, like I did the motocross thing when I was younger. And for me, from a sports perspective, you're scoring points or you're racing and you're finishing in a certain time. Like that's the ultimate test, right? You never leave it up to something that is subjective. Like, all apologies to the Olympics, but if there's judges involved, like you just never really know, right? Yeah, like how are you ever going to really make a determination between who's right and wrong? So at the end of the day, if you have the two big events, you have racing and you have freestyle, to be able to come out and win a race, there's really no arguing that, right? Someone crosses the line first.
Yep.
What a way to go out. It was, it was hair raising. I think all you did by winning the first day was just you got the seat to be the final guy that ran against the champion from day 2, and then also had to race to get the final victory, right?
Yeah. So 12 of us, out of our bracket, I won the Saturday event. So on Sunday, everything switched. I freestyled on Sunday, and then all the other drivers got to drive that freestyled on the first day, got to race on the second day. So going into that second day, when you have all that momentum going and you're winning and you're on rails and the track is, the truck is reacting the same way and the ruts are the same on the track, all of a sudden to end that and have to wait all night long, laying in bed going, okay, what do I do? Is the track going to be the same tomorrow? Who's going to be fast tomorrow? Who should I be mentally starting to get sized up against? Like who's going to be the favorites? At the World Championships, it's never the same guys rise to the top. It's always like, where did that come from? Just
some random.
Yeah, just sometimes some random drivers come out of nowhere, get to the final. And I was sitting there just watching all these drivers get seat time on the track. And I'm in the back blind. I can't see what's happening out on the track. I'm in the back and on the street, literally behind the stadium, waiting for my time to get out on the track. And I had to kind of argue with Feld Entertainment going like, hey, I need seat time on the track. These guys are burning laps. I need to be out there too.
Yeah.
So they finally were like, okay, fine. Between the semifinals and the finals, you get to do a pass on the track. So I was able to get out on the track, drive on the lane that I liked, which was the right lane, and I was able to get a good run right there. And I was like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready. And Nick and Kennedy, my girlfriend and stuff, were in the grandstands watching, and I'm on my Apple Watch in my truck going like, what's going on the track? What's the track doing? And it was so cool, to hear they were literally my eyes on the track.
Wow.
Like literally, I had no clue what was happening. There's no monitors.
Wow.
I can't see anything in the back.
Yeah, there's no wrong seat in a monster truck.
That's true.
So true. It's a little stadium seat up, in the nosebleed. So yeah, it was cool to be able to, just take whatever knowledge possible and try to share some of the stuff we were seeing with lines. On Saturday, where Todd had won the first bracket, the whole event had been delayed. There were thunderstorms, there was rain. And when you have, a dirt track that's built on a football field, obviously you've got a tarp, you've got all this imported dirt, like the way that it's laying, is it loamy, is it sandy, is it holding water? He had figured out the fast line on the first day. And we were seriously doubting if that lane was the right one to be in on day 2, because you're watching a whole separate group of drivers, right? So it's kind of unclear as far as like you're not able to compare it back to any of the information that you had taken from day 1. ultimately, we kind of dithered. We went back and forth and decided that our final opinion was he should stick with the lane that he knew despite the conditions, and that, it was just going to have to work. He was able to go out and do a sight lap, and then congratulations. Next thing you get to do is go against the guy who's been warmed up all day winning the Sunday event, right?
Yeah, and his name was Zach Garner, an independent driver. So a lot of those independent drivers, so at Monster Jam events, not every single truck is owned by Feld Entertainment. Some of them are privately owned.
Okay.
And so these guys, I think, personally play by some different rules, man. They have a little bit different motor packages, axle widths, wheelbase. There's a few definitely
change it up a little
rules
bit.
that they don't have to live in with Feld Entertainment.
Got it.
Feld Entertainment wants a monster truck to be cookie cutter, so they can take the track bar off of my truck and put it on the next truck.
Sure.
And it's just logistically,
Makes
it's
sense.
very, very smart. So when I was in the final against a kid who won the world championships the year before, his name is Zach Garner, and I was like, oh, this kid's on fire, man. I remember back 10 years ago when I was on fire too. I won the freestyle world championship, and then racing. I'm like, this is me 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And this kid's 21 years old, and I was like, dude, you're 46 years old. You got this, dude. Use your, you might not physically be able to outdrive this guy, but use your mental game.
Sure. You
And,
got a lot more experience.
Yeah, so we were able to get up onto the starting pod. I just remember like taking in a breath, and you just like everything just goes kind of quiet. And I remember my watch just buzzing, because this is all people, like family, friends, going like, "Good luck." People are texting me, it's crazy. It could have been even my Ring doorbell thing was buzzing, right? And so I was just like, just trying to zone everything out. Like your breathing, everything starts to slow down. You're so focused on those starting lights in front of you. It just goes like, yellow, and then you're just waiting for that green. And then as soon as it goes, it's just, don't think, just drive on pure instinct.
Wow.
And I remember going up onto the hill, and Zach, a small little story before that, was having steering issues. And Feld Entertainment wanted me to hurry up and get out on the track and start the race. And I was like, no, I want to race this kid heads up. I want to race him. So I stood in the back and waited until he was ready and gave me the signal. And then him and I went out together. I could have went out early and they could have sent out another truck. And I was like, no, I want to race this kid heads up. And as he took off the starting line, his steering ended up having some air bubbles in it. They had a steering issue. While they were changing the steering pump. As any mechanic knows, sometimes there's air pockets that are in the system, and it hit a steering pump, and it locked up the steering on him. He ended up stopping. I had basically a victory lap, and what a mic drop, dude, to do my last world championship and to win it racing, where it's literally you against 26 other drivers that are the best in the world. And to win it, man, it was just so incredible. And I remember just like, don't screw up, Todd. Don't screw this up. And I made that final turn. It's like same thing. You just hold your breath, because even going slow, any mechanical issue can happen. Those are the nights that you sit in bed going like, why didn't I just go slow? Or what did I, but I just came across the finish line. I remember jumping. I was like, this is absolutely incredible. Flew up the hill. I was screaming, losing my mind. My crew chief, Frankie, was losing his mind too. This was his very first world championship, second year of being a mechanic.
Oh, wow.
Like, he was just like, and I drove up onto the biggest pod, the biggest jump in the middle of the track. And I just climbed out, dude, and just soaked up the moment, man. Took off my helmet. There was a drone flying around, just like all the fans clapping. And it was just like, those are moments that you'll never, ever forget. Like, it's just like crazy. Like just hearing 50,000 fans screaming is just like not a normal thing that any person in this world ever hears. And just hearing everyone scream and lose their mind, it was like just what an incredible mic drop. And did my interviews and ran up onto the podium and stuff, and it was just like a dream. Like cameras are going off everywhere, giving hugs, we're giving high fives to everybody, and pulling up my crew chief up onto the thing, and I just handed him that giant trophy, and just they put a medal around your neck. And you're standing on top of this podium and stuff, and you spin around. It's just a giant stadium of lights and flashes, and it's just crazy, man. It just literally feels like a dream. And then I had to, do my interviews, do my song and dance, and then had to get refocused again because I had freestyle right after that. So I was able to run down on the track to do a quick change up. We do some shock changes where our trucks have an adjustable valve on the shocks. So it's kind of like a cone where you're able to adjust the volume of how much fluid is moved through the reservoir in the shock can. And we got ready for freestyle, and I was like, dude, Todd, this is your last world championship, your last freestyle. Like, let's get it, man. And it almost worked.
Let's knock the wheels off this thing.
Yeah.
What happened?
We had a good freestyle. With Monster Jam trucks, freestyle is 2 minutes. So I call it a 2 minute long car crash. And I was starting to get into a rhythm. You got to be smart. So fans, to a certain extent, now that I'm done with the sport, I can pretty much divulge everything. Now, the fans don't remember the first minute and a half of your run.
Really?
They don't. They only remember the last 30 seconds of driving it crazy, smashing it, letting parts fly off, oil spraying everywhere. That's what they remember. That's where they really judge you, is those last 30 seconds. And my run was cruising along. I did a big air, was flying around, and I remember I felt my head kind of twisted a little bit weird in the truck. And I was like, man, that seems kind of strange. And I took my right hand off the rear steer. I checked my Hans, and I was like, okay, the clip is there. I could feel it on the helmet. And so I was like, oh, man, you're just tripping. Just keep going. So I flew around, and there was a big jump that I wanted to do. And one other driver did it before myself. And he crashed. When he landed, the rear wheel axle broke. He spun around, crashed, and that was the end of his run. So I'm like, I'm going to end my run with this giant jump. So as I came flying down this hill, it was a little bit tricky getting lined up for it. And you don't ever want to hit a jump at a pretty high rate of speed, not being straight. If you could literally do a corkscrew in the air and land on your head, and that's lights out. So I remember jumping that jump. I was able to make the vehicle do exactly what I wanted. I nosed in, I spiked the front, bam, when I landed, everything went kind of weird, black, kind of hazy. I could kind of, remember bits and pieces. I remember the whole Megalodon body flying off. And then there was about 2 minutes there. I don't remember what happened. Both of my straps broke. So to break a strap, I think it ended up being 1,300 PSI to break them.
Holy shit.
Broke both of them. Both broke them. Gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was able to climb out of the vehicle. I knew I was for sure done.
Yeah.
Exited the stadium.
That was it.
And that was it.
Mic
The end of
drop.
my career.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it was cool.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
That is an incredible story, man. That's what an insight. A little look under the veil there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the trucks, like I said, it's for a lot of folks here, you see these things, and it's easy to kind of get caught up in the entertainment aspect of it, right?
Sure.
You talked about Feld and owning Supercross and owning Monster Jam, and wrestling too is
Disney on Ice and Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Yeah. So,
everything.
I mean, that's definitely their MO, is entertaining large groups of people. But ultimately, like, we can appreciate, all the bits and pieces that go into these things. And then hearing the insights like this, we talked earlier about how spec being a driver's class, I mean, that's what you're dealing with here, especially when you've got like corporate vehicles, right?
Right.
So anyone that's running like the factory, the Feld truck, you basically got the same thing. You've got an employee of them that is prepping the truck. So if you're going to go out there and win this stuff, like, it's going to really give you an opportunity to shine as a driver. So getting the kind of the inside look to the monster truck thing that I never really had before, it brings a unique perspective to it. The people that can get out there every weekend for, what'd you say, 18, 20 weekends in a row, win an event like this where everyone has the same goal in mind. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible career. 3 stadium championships, which is, like I said, 18 and 20 events, and they combine all the points, and that's how you crown a championship. And won 3 of those, won countless awards, freestyle of the year, 2-wheel skills, big air, 3 world championships, 2 in racing, 1 in freestyle. It was a really, really good run. And just like the memories I got to make, man, just, I don't know, letting people climb inside the vehicle, sit in a seat, and giving family and friends, and even like some of the off-road fans, they come out and be like, hey, Todd, I want to bring my kids out, and I'll see a big time, desert racer. I'll be like, yeah, if you want, put your kids inside, enjoy the truck.
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
Just like, showing kids and even adults of, I got to meet a lot of cool celebrities and stuff like that too. And like I said, it was a really fun run, but now I just want to focus on desert racing. I want to get back into desert racing. That's, like I said, that's my true passion, and when you're away from the sport for this long, sometimes your names gets, not brought up a lot.
Right.
So I want to get back into desert. That's my main focus. I always take great pride in, when I drive a vehicle, I drive it like it's mine. I want to make sure that the guy who owns the truck or whoever the next driver is going to get that truck. So I always keep that in the back of my mind, and so I just have a lot of fun doing desert racing and stuff. And hopefully, like I said, I like teaching it and passing it on. My dad did it with me, and I like sharing that knowledge with other teams that I compete with and stuff. I like sharing, like, hey, the truck doesn't like to do this. And if we go out and doing testing, like, hey, let me drive the truck and you drive the truck and let's compare lines. Maybe your style of driving is better than mine, or maybe my style through this section is better than yours. And it's a great way to like build some real,
that's
cool memories with another person, a driver.
I got a couple questions from this monster truck thing.
Oh, dang.
Well, gosh, I know. So what kind of workout routine did you have? You talked about your core because you are just in that car wreck. What was your workout routine like weekly?
Just normal gym stuff.
Yeah.
Depends. Usually Mondays were pretty tough, man. A lot of stretching, trying to relax those muscles that are just so aggravated. Recovery. They're so tight, and you got to find a great physical therapist or sports medicine guys, where you come in and they aggravate and they get you to the point where you can function again. And a lot of core, a lot of abs, a lot of chest, a lot of back and neck. Okay. A lot of neck scrunches, just stuff like that too to
strengthen,
to help build that up.
You do any cryo or cold plunge stuff or
no?
Oh, really interesting.
Still love mountain biking and being fitness, that kind of stuff. That's a big deal. When you're sitting in those trucks, when you're doing shows in Singapore, for instance, it's so hot and humid. You're pouring sweat, and you gotta be fit. You gotta be physically fit, and so that's where I think a lot of people, especially in racing, make it, mistakes is because they're exhausted, they're tired.
Yeah,
it takes a lot out of you, and you have a windshield. You're sitting literally on top of the transmission and engine, so all that radiating heat just barrels into the vehicle. So it's just so
it does not
so
sound
tough.
Fun at all.
It
does not sound fun at all. Does this sound fun to you, Nick? It doesn't sound fun to me. It's fun watching it, but I would not. It doesn't sound. I have no desire to be inside that thing.
Yeah, I guess depending on the sequence, right? Because after you get the chance, it's funny that Todd was in the desert first, because after you get the chance to ride in a trophy truck, I mean, it's unlike anything else that is on tires that I've ever been in. It just feels like cheating, right?
Is that the pinnacle? Is that arguably the pinnacle? It's just a T1 trophy truck, a top of the line trophy truck?
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that you see coming through the windshield at you, you're just wincing. You talk about this pain and all this stuff in the monster truck world. I mean, I remember my first time, like my reaction was laughing, because you just see like ridiculous stuff coming down the track in front of you. And if you've got, if you're blessed with the opportunity to take a ride with a seasoned driver and they know what the truck is capable of or what it ought to be able to do, it's just silly. It definitely blurs the line between flight and driving, because those trucks are just
skipping across the earth.
Incredible, the stuff they can deal with.
Wow. Okay, another question I had was, you talked about your mechanic or / crew chief or whatever. Even though those trucks were owned by that company, Feld. But you had your own group that was intimate with that vehicle, that truck.
Correct. So Feld Entertainment depends on the vehicle and the performance levels that you do, usually weekly. Is you either have one technician or two.
Okay.
I've always had two from basically day one. I always drove like an idiot, so they had to keep up, and it's tough. So like, to a certain extent, when you start driving at a performance, and every week the fans want to see that performance, so you gotta maintain that and stuff. So I've burned through a lot of mechanics, and when you're with a mechanic, they become family.
Okay.
They really do.
I would imagine.
Yeah, you're living literally weeks and weeks and weeks together out on the road, and your trust is 100% in that technician.
Sure.
For sure. There's no doubt about it. And a lot of times with Feld Entertainment, they would team me up with a lot of the newer mechanics.
Okay.
Because I was mechanically inclined.
Okay.
So I'm able to say, hey, there's a vibration. Well, where is it? With a rookie driver and a rookie crew chief, they're going to be chasing, ghosts around that vehicle. Or I'm like, hey, right now I can feel it. The drive shaft under full droop is binding. I can feel it grinding. We've got to grind it out a little bit, or check the right front hub and stuff like that. And that helps a lot with a rookie crew chief. And after you start to build a 2-year, 3-year relationship with this crew chief,
then they move on.
They take them away to another, and so it just gets frustrating, but you have a lot of fun. Like, you literally, after every event, you're like, hey, you want to go run to Waffle House real quick and have dinner, and you do kind of like a recap, and And then
Love the Waffle House.
I know, right? And then, one of my mechanics, we were able to, or both of them, two of them, we, at some of the events, some of our great fans are like, hey, I have a helicopter. Do you want to take you and your crew chief and go fly over and have lunch,
Sure.
And yeah, of course.
Yes, please.
Send it.
So like we just have a lot of fun. We go go-karting. We really genuinely bond, and like I said, it's a different level. You become like family, and
a marriage without the sex.
yeah, basically, it's a lot of fun. No, it's cool. No, like I said, and then like I still to this day, I talk to a lot of my crew chiefs.
That's cool.
Through the last 15 years, I think I've had a total of 9 different crew chiefs. And I was lucky enough to just work with teams. Those are the guys that like all my championships are because of them. Literally, no joke. There's no way I could have drove all those monster trucks as hard as I do without them. So it's my hat's off to them for sure.
That's interesting. I had no idea that, those trucks were owned and except for the few independents that are out there. Man, what an interesting insight. The other question I had was like, what was your favorite stadium? I mean, I didn't even know they shipped out to Holland and stuff. I mean, the logistics of getting monster trucks to Holland, to Singapore. Holy hell.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, you hop on a flight, that's easy or whatever, but how do you get a monster truck to Singapore?
It's like going to war.
Yeah, right? You get an aircraft carrier? What do you do? I don't know.
At the peak of the career of mine, I had 3 Metal Mulisha trucks and 3 Monster Energy trucks. So I would have one in South Korea full time. So that would do Singapore, China.
So it lived over there.
Japan, Australia.
Okay.
It would stay there full time on usually Army bases. We had a great relationship with them. And then I had a secondary truck, my B truck, I would have in Germany on an Army base. So that would go all over Europe and Africa.
Wow.
That was the vehicle for there. And then I had my Premier truck, which was North America. And that would sometimes do South America and Canada. So 3 vehicles.
They were similar, but they probably all have their own little idiosyncrasies.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. No doubt about it. Yeah, they're very, very different. And usually my mechanics would travel with me. So, like I said, I always had 2. So one was a seasoned mechanic. Then I always had a floater kid.
Yeah.
So the floater kid was the next generation of mechanics. So if anything ever happened, just those kids were ready for the stress, but not the full-blown experience.
They didn't take the full blunt. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a great way. So like if Frankie, my crew chief, was like, hey man, I don't want to go this week. I want to stay here and do something or whatever. I'll be like, we'll just take the second kid with me and throw him to the wolves over in Europe and stuff like that. And
wow.
So the mechanics always usually fly in about a day or 2 ahead. They make sure everything's put together. The bodies are mounted. Tires are on. They usually get them all prepped for media. So when we fly into, let's just say, France, we show up on a Thursday. Friday morning, we have media, practice, shakedown, basically is what it is. Just to shake the trucks out, fill the ramps, check out the track, and then Saturday's the show.
Wow.
How
many bodies do you guys have at any given event? Because you guys destroy those things. I mean, they're like disposable.
Yeah, brand new body every week.
Every week.
So that's what's unique about even the unsung heroes behind the scenes is we have a shop back in Bradenton, Florida. And so they would say every week. So my crew chief would get done with the weekend. They go, okay, Todd destroyed a whole body. 2 tires, 1 tie bar, 2 axles, 1 planetary. And then that would get shipped to the next week. So we'd drive the semi over to Houston. There'd be a pallet said Monster Energy or Metal Mulisha or Megalodon. They would pick it all up and they would just restock the semi. So the semi has enough parts to build 2 trucks.
Okay.
There's literally everything, spare engines, axles, seats, steering wheels. We have literally everything. And so when we just pull from there and we restock it the week. And then the next week we order it again and again and again. And there's 5 there's 5 shows happening. 2 of them are stadium, 3 arenas. So Feld Entertainment's doing
that
much of a jungle.
The logistics of that, and then I'm just dollar figures, right? Like I'm just thinking, I mean, engine. What's an engine cost in a monster truck? I mean, it's
a blown alcohol big block.
Yeah,
is it $10,000? Is it $20,000? Is it $50,000?
They have 90 of them.
Oh my god,
it's crazy. So I bet you each truck, roughly, I would say, is probably around $1.5 million budget.
$1.5 million
for prep.
Budget. Holy hell.
For damage and
that is
expenses.
Insane. I mean, that just goes to show you how popular the sport is and how many people are, willing to spend the $35 or whatever it is for a ticket to go watch this truck fly through the air.
But that was a good question, too, technically, to circle back. There's always stadiums that you always performed well at. I don't know why. It was just maybe just the atmosphere, the city, just so random.
That's one of my questions here. What was your favorite stadium to perform at?
Anaheim Stadium was always super cool. Giant outdoor. The way the field and everything's laid out, it's just a way different scenario. Phoenix, Arizona was a larger floor. They're able to get the grass and push it out of the stadium there. So that floor is a lot bigger to perform on. Like I said, some of these cities are just electric. It's just so cool. Like I said, Las Vegas was always super cool. Just the hype going into the World Finals that was there at that event was cool. Arlington Stadium, like when you drive in and you see your monster truck up on that giant Dallas Jumbotron, you know,
that's cool.
It's just unreal. It's just a crazy feeling.
So did you ever bounce tires off of that screen?
No, but there always was in Europe. You know, a lot of the smaller arenas, they were built differently. They weren't built for monster trucks 30 years ago. So there was always jumbotrons that were so close that every once in a while we'd look at each other and go, "Do you want to try to jump and hit it?" You know, and we would get close a few times. You know, like I said, like, you know, driving monster trucks is like a real life video game.
Yeah,
literally. If you can think you can dream it. You want to try it and you feel like you got the balls, go for it.
And then somebody has a shut-off on your truck if you get knocked out or something, right?
Exactly.
There's a safety feature there.
Yep. So a lot of the safety stuff on the truck side has increased insanely. So a lot of it, as we started getting higher and higher and higher, I started implementing different roll bars, adding more roll bars in cages, because I was doing a lot of jumps that nobody else was doing. And at that high of an altitude, it could cause some problems. So I started
oxygen mask drops down from the top.
Even though the bag may not inflate.
And with monster trucks, if you do ever pay attention and look closely, we have a left, center, and right lane. So when you go out for racing, you get to pick what lane you want, and you can flip it right then and there. So you have to make that decision as you enter the track. Then that tells the officials upstairs, Todd's going to go left lane, Ryan's going to go right lane.
Gotcha.
So when you go out onto the track, and then they can shut you off independently. So let's just say something's falling off of my truck during racing, Ryan can keep going, and they would shut me off and stop.
So there's somebody watching, a person watching each truck that's racing
100%.
That got the eyes on it. Do you have anybody watching you as like a spotter, like in
your crew chief?
So your crew chief is your spotter, and he's in your ear, like
100%.
Okay, all right.
Go, slow down. You won. You know, because like I said, a lot of the times we'll actually leave the stadium, and you don't even know if you won, what's going on, and you're always constantly making adjustments. I've been literally in shows where halfway through the show it started raining. You got to change adjustments right then and there.
Got it.
Tire pressure changes, shock changes, cutting the windshield so that when the windshield gets covered in mud, you're able to see. Like, you're literally constantly communicating. And at World Finals, we talked about it. A lot of the mechanics that were there, they're all there for the show. They want to be on camera. They want to be cheering and stuff. And I told Frankie, I'm like, let's go the opposite. Stay in the back with me. Let's focus on winning this thing, and then we can soak up all the glory and all the camera time after we win. And that strategy ended up winning. But also, too, with our trucks, we have safety shutoffs, like a kill switch. Physically, so a guy can run out there, shut your truck off. And then also, too, they can shut you off at any second. So as you're driving and you're unconscious or anything like that, or they think you're going towards something that doesn't look right, they can kill you as long as you give a signal like, hey, I'm good, or whatever, I keep going.
Then they fire
you fire right back up, and you can continue on.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. God damn. I got more questions. I don't know, man. I could talk about this shit all night. It's just interesting. It's a unique thing, and I didn't realize how, far-reaching it was. I didn't follow the sport more than just here, locally or in the United States, even, but Singapore. I mean, what's that got to be like,
I didn't even think they had dirt in Singapore.
Do they throw rice at you or anything? Or
no, but we do. That's another thing that, Feld's really, really good at teaching us the customs. And, and, so like it's rude to point with your finger at, and like in China, it's rude to point.
Okay.
So you have to like only wave or
when you're down on the floor ground and you're announcing it, hey, fans, and you're pointing at the fans.
Yeah,
nope, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Interesting.
So they teach us like, hey, where to stay away from certain parts of the city.
Yeah.
Customs, like in Japan, if someone hands you a business card, you hold on to it until you're done with your conversation. Then you can walk away and put it in your pocket.
Okay.
It's rude to just take it.
Just put it in your pocket right away.
So just like little things like that. It's just so unique to see the world. Like you literally.
Isn't it amazing, though?
Yeah.
I mean, I've done some traveling, nothing like you have, but it is always amazes me I'm always happy to come back home. But it's always cool to see different cultures and people and foods and, whatever it is that culture is all about. I mean,
why they act the way they do.
You've done some worldly travel there and got to see, stuff that a fraction, maybe 5% of the population has ever seen.
31 countries.
Damn.
Yeah, driving a monster truck. And, I remember
crazy.
16 years ago, I was like, dude, this is like redneck. Like, don't say it loud, that I drive monster trucks. But it's a well-run entity. It really is. It's a really nice brand. They try to keep it as clean as possible.
That's impressive.
And professional as possible.
I love this.
Because I remember the old days, dude. The guys would literally take a drag of a cigarette and flick it, and then start their race.
Sure,
and, monster trucks. Like, it's changed a lot from then. So it's pretty cool.
Big show. I mean, it's big money, obviously, in a show, and it's cool to hear that you guys pretty much had free reign to just go put on a great show, and let's see what you can do in this thing.
Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, every once in a while, you got to let the Feld Entertainment people know, like, hey, I'm going to try this new trick that's never been done before, so just as a heads up, or have the safety teams ready. Because I'm the first person ever in history to try to do a double backflip in a monster truck. So we started testing and doing this thing. I was like, hey, I want to try to set a world record for the highest backflip, and which I did. 90 feet in the air, highest backflip ever. And I did it in Florida. I was the highest altitude, I think, in all of Florida at that second or two right there while I was flying through the air. And then that same day, I was like, I want to try to do a double. All the equipment's here. We're all sitting here. Let's just try it. And it didn't work. I ended up, if you look it up, Todd Leduc double backflip attempt.
Yeah.
I ended up doing 1.5, landed straight up on my head. It was pretty violent, man. My hands flew up the steering wheel, smashed the ceiling. I remember as I started getting more and more aware of where I was at after the event, and I was like, why do my hands hurt? And then we looked at the in-card tape, and my hands, because of the G-force, it was like 16 G's negative. I couldn't hold on to the steering wheel, and they hit the ceiling of the truck, but the truck held up.
Wow.
The cage held up perfectly, and that's why I think at that point, I was like, dude, I feel pretty invincible in these trucks. They're tough, they're well built, and then yeah.
What was your worst mechanical failure or crash? I guess
Yard sale.
Yeah, yard sale.
Gosh, I don't know. I've had issues where I've had literally the whole front of the truck fly off.
Just gone.
Yeah, I remember
the chat.
finishing the crash, the whole front axle, tires, axles, drive shaft, cage, 4-link bars, everything was gone.
Left the chat.
Left the chat. I climbed out literally. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like laughing. I was like waving at the crowd going like, oh my gosh.
And then do you buy your crew chief a drink after that or dinner or what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I don't think
bro.
Waffle House is going to do you for that one.
Waffle House covered in smother, whatever you want, man. Just order up.
No, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of respect. A lot of the guys, I remember vividly, waking up in the morning, they were still working.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, do you guys want me to grab you some McDonald's and some energy drinks? And, and then during pit party, the crews sleep. They go back into the rigs and they just sleep and hang out in the locker rooms. But like I said, I've seen a lot of unique things, man. A lot of cool stadiums behind the scenes, underneath the tunnels, walking, meeting the owners of stadiums, team owners, football players, celebrities, just all kinds of just.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you're watching a game on TV and you're like, oh, I know that stadium inside and out.
Right?
Yeah, literally, we'll go to a stadium, and I know exactly which tunnel, which elevator to come down, and I have friends that go to the event and they're like, I'm lost. I'm stuck in the tunnel 4. I'm like, yep, hold on. I know where that's at. So it's just, it's really, really fun and cool. And you get to climb around the stadiums where you're not supposed to be. And yeah, it's cool.
So this is awesome. Really appreciate your time. So you mentioned what's next. You want to get back to desert racing. So what's that look like? What's going on?
Yeah. So now I'm going to start working on building a pre-runner.
Okay.
And getting back out there again. So that's my biggest deal. So right now I just want to try getting back into desert racing. I don't have an ego to feed or anything like that. I'll race any division.
Okay.
I like to compete. And so if it's a buggy, truck, trophy truck, it doesn't matter. I just want to go out there and have fun.
Anything's going to be a better ride than what you've been doing for the last 15 years. So.
I'll give you that for sure. So like I said,
Bob Bug.
Yeah, I know. No, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, so I want to get back into desert. So what that's going to look like is just being involved, being out there, volunteering with the team again, and start working my way up.
Wow.
And if I remember correctly, so if this is the first podcast, I also think you haven't yet been to King of the Hammers.
I have not.
Really?
Never have been.
Have you watched it though? I mean, you know about it. And
Yes,
what it's
of course.
about.
Yeah, it's always
Okay.
during Monster Truck season. It's
Okay.
always during Monster Truck season. So I've never been out to King of the Hammer. So I think next year is going to be my first time I'm going to go out. So if anybody has any
What?
rigs,
2026, he's coming out to
There it is.
KOH.
This is world world premiere
world
breaking
announcement.
news.
Hey, we give till it hurts here on the podcast. This is good stuff. Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, over the last what has it been? Maybe 5 years. They've got the desert truck thing up and running
Yes.
at King of the Hammers. Now, unfortunately, for me, it's on 2 weekends. They used to line all that up, right? They race trucks, they
Right.
race the limited classes, Everyman Challenge, and then Ultra 4 3 days in a row. For the last couple of years now, it's been split. Prior weekend to
It's a weekend before.
latter
Yeah.
weekend. But yeah, we're planning on getting Todd down there this year, and just hopefully being a part of both weekends because it's the nice thing about Ultra 4, it kind of brings his whole past life together, right? Had the stadium trucks that were 4-wheel drive,
Yeah.
had these monster trucks that are giant tires and 4-wheel drive, and Hell's Bells kind of looks like a monster truck.
It does, yeah.
And then you bring in a little desert race in something that will still go over 100 miles an hour in the desert, plus crawl big rocks and car-sized rocks anyway.
This is another point in my life. I wish I was a multimillionaire and could just sponsor him and go, dude, you are the man for this event, because we talk about the cars are like Swiss Army knives because
Right.
they go 120 in the desert and then they're going over rocks at 20 miles an hour that us recreational rock cars are going 5 miles an hour over. But the drivers also have to adapt to all those different, driving styles. You're really changing your driving style per se in these different environments. And I see it all the time. There's drivers that go fast in the desert and suck in the rocks, or vice versa, right?
For sure.
And there's the handful of drivers out there that can do both pretty good, and then there's the
And they've
smaller
usually
handful.
got some crowns.
Yeah, and then there's a smaller handful that has some crowns that can do both really well. So I would love to see you in an Ultra 4 car to see what you could do with your past off-road history.
yeah, no, it would be absolutely a blast.
yeah.
Or even a side by
Who do we
side.
call? We call Gomez's? How do we make this happen, Nick?
No.
We
You got to start somewhere, right?
Hit me up on Instagram. Write me a DM or whatever. But no, it's gonna be cool. Like I said, I just want to experience a lot of things that I've been missing. Like I haven't done the Parker 425 in years because the same thing is during Monster Truck. So I can finally commit to a full season with the team. So if any teams are wanting to do a full series of, King of the Hammers kind of stuff, or doing desert or short course, now I can finally commit. I can do every single race and really give it 100%. So that's really unique. And I like I said, if I'm going to race with a team or team up with a team, I want to give them 100%. And now I finally can.
And that's a good segue, right? Because you're talking about your availability and what your interests are. So driver for hire services are available.
Yes.
Coaching, I imagine,
Yeah.
right? What sort of things have you done and what are you open to?
Yeah, so I work with a driver named Rolf. He races Trophy Truck Legend. He was a trash man from Chicago. He bought a Geyser trophy truck out in Phoenix, Arizona. He called me up and said, "Hey, I know you live around here. Can you help me?" We did a driver. He paid me. We went out to Parker, Arizona for a day, and we tested. He's like, "I want to see what this truck is capable of, and then show me why it's able to do it." And then I ended up doing right seat. And it's a little.
Yeah, what's
I
it
give
like being in a right
co-riders.
seat?
I give co-riders mad respect.
Yeah,
because you guys have
100%.
no control about what's happening over there. And you got to really test. You got to trust the driver, and And so I was able to train with him, and next thing you know, boom, they went out and they won a lot of races in Trophy Truck Legend. So that was a pretty good success story. Kerry, we shared a lot. Just working with him, and I like doing that. Like I said, just passing on that knowledge is always the coolest feeling ever. Of saying like, hey, I've worked with this guy, and we look what he's doing, and it's pretty cool. So hopefully I can bring that to the race program too.
I mean, that's great. I mean, what a unique upbringing that you had, and getting intimate, building a vehicle, knowing the mechanics behind it, racing, and then the depth of experience that you have from, I mean, how many people have monster truck on their resume? I mean, very few. It's such a unique thing, right? And I'm blown away. I mean, that's just, I could see this being magical down there in the desert.
No, it's cool, dude. I've been blessed. Like I said, I don't know. I was built to be a race car driver.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. So
Well,
just trying to keep my dad's legacy alive.
Yeah.
You know, we're the Leducs.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
All right, so Todd, you were talking about the legacy and everything about your dad and carrying on with this next chapter of your career in the desert. But yeah, this is going to be cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
My dad was one of the most legendary drivers, out there and stuff. Like, it's big shoes to fill. And I want to be a race car driver. That's what I was put on this earth to do, for sure. And I love what I do. And like I said, I want my boys to ride too. I really do.
That's cool.
I'm hoping my boys want to race. I think it's in their genes. It's just, I got to pull it out of them.
So you said they're 12-ish,
Nine.
9
Yeah.
and 12. So they're right there at that age. Are they riding dirt bikes? What do they got going on? Side by sides or
Mountain bikes.
mountain bikes?
Oh yeah, they're just like me, and they cruise. My oldest did race a side by side at Crandon.
Okay.
He ended up rolling.
Okay.
And they're not able to radio back to us. Only we can speak to them from the spotters. 'Cause I
Wow.
spotted for him, which
Okay.
was crazy. It's weird to see your own kid race around the track. Now I know how my dad feels. And so I said, cruise, if you're doing good and you want to still keep racing after your crash, wave. If not, unbuckle and start climbing out.
Okay.
'Cause that's a defining moment,
Yeah.
in any professional sport. That's when you know your kid is like, you either get back up and you keep going, or it
Yeah.
scares you and you
Or
never want to do
I'm
it again.
done.
And he waved.
Wow.
So the track crews fired him back up, and he took off and kept racing.
That's cool.
It was pretty sick. So I was like,
you
okay,
have a little tear in your eye. You're like, fuck
here
yeah.
we go.
There it is.
You're hooked.
So no,
Sorry, not sorry.
So it's just the same thing. It's just figuring out how to fund it. So
Yeah.
I want to make him earn it exact the same way as I did. I want him to learn how to build his own cars, work on it, and go race.
So the mountain bike thing, I mean, it's pretty crazy because you at the early part of this podcast, you were saying, I'm going to do something different where the Leduc name wasn't there. I'm not going to ride on that legacy. I want to create my own name and just see what I can do. And it sounds like they're following in your footsteps. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully.
Okay. Right on, man. Dude, this is awesome stuff. Yeah, we're pushing an hour and 45 minutes or so, which is fine. And I could go on all night, but we covered a lot of ground.
No
Thank you
doubt.
for setting this up, Nick. What a cool, I mean, I knew the Leduc name, obviously knew your father, and then I knew you did monster truck stuff, but it's cool to get to hear it firsthand here, and I love it, man. It's you got a great story to tell. And,
Thanks.
It's our off-road, arena is just so freaking cool. And that's why we started this podcast, is just to document some of these stories. And we don't have any, direct format. I just love the stories that roll. And yeah, you killed it for your first podcast, man. Thanks.
No problem.
Hey, and I think in my closing argument, there was a lot of names that Todd mentioned here off the get. Rob McCachran, Walker Evans, Curt Leduc.
Yeah.
Right? There's one thing that all these guys have in common, and they've still been killing the off-road racing game well into their advanced years. So you got a lot of time left, buddy.
Yeah, you really do.
I look forward to sharing some of that with you.
Well, they say with age comes the cage, and he's already got that mastered.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I
know,
I'm,
it's
all the
I'm
cages.
this close to being able to do Legends here soon. So
There you go.
Watch out.
I mean, you apparently have done the hardest thing out there, which is monster trucks. I didn't realize it was that violent. I mean, it makes sense, but holy hell. So, yeah, it's easy street in the desert now, riding that couch or whatever. But I really want to see this frickin' Ultra 4 thing come together somehow, some way.
I know, right?
People. I know people.
That's
Podcast. Right. We're getting it out there in podcast land now. Anybody that could hook Todd up with a steering wheel and some four wheels and a motor out there at KOH. I want to see this happen.
They drive over cars too. That's,
yeah.
There's plenty of that. Plenty of that on the resume.
Yeah. You can Randy Slauson that mofo.
Hey,
so
thanks for having me on here. Seriously, I just want to thank everyone in my career, from sponsors, mechanics, family, everyone that got me to this point. It's been pretty cool. So I just want to say thanks to all them, and let's see what the future holds.
So how can folks get a hold of you, Todd?
No,
what's
you stole
what's
my line.
what's
Look
going
at you.
on
You're a professional now. I'm just
social
going to be
media?
quiet.
Yeah, social media. Like I said, around the industry, if you want to try to get hold of me and stuff, give me a call for sure.
What's that IG?
Oh, Instagram is that Todd Leduc. So you can see it. I'm
Easy to
verified.
remember.
It's super easy. It's me driving a monster truck on there.
Okay.
So you can write me a DM. I check it daily. So if there's anything like that, I'd be
So
honored to
you run
entertain
your
it.
page. It's not like some
No, there's no
teenager or
managers. I do
something.
it all. Mechanic, social media, everything. So it's cool.
I love it.
So yeah, give me a follow. Yeah, like I said, if something works out, cool. And like I've told even BJ Baldwin when I race with him, just give me an opportunity. Let's go out testing. If I don't impress you, I'll never bother you again. If and I impress him and we ended up getting a ride with him and racing with him for a while. So we'll see what happens.
Right on. Yeah, 111,000 followers.
Not too shabby.
Somebody.
It's a couple.
He's somebody.
I'm
He's
famous
got the
to-
blue check mark that he didn't buy.
I'm famous to 5-year-olds. Okay.
It's cool, man. It's great. I love it. Awesome stuff. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Nick, for hosting here at Studio B.
But yeah, absolutely happy to do it. Love the networking thing and my professional career, and here on the off-road side, it's always a good time to get friends together. So
Yeah.
thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, great stuff, man. So thank you, Todd, and hit him up at Todd Leduc on Instagram. I am assuming Facebook, all that other stuff. You got you got a
Correct.
website. You got
Everything.
Everything. It's all there.
Snapchat, everything, man.
Oh, Snapchat.
Find
Look
me.
at you.
Go
You're
find
definitely
me.
with the kids with the Snapchat there. So, okay. Right on, man. Well, that was a good one, huh?
Yeah, freaking awesome.
Holy hell. Yeah, one of the
Strap a guy into a seat in a big freaking 80-foot tall truck with monster tires on it and a big mega block V8, and off you go, man.
yeah, and let's do a backflip or two while we're at it. So, cool stuff. I mean, like I say, I knew about the legacy and the stadium truck stuff, but it was cool to hear the stories firsthand. And it's badass, and he retired. Probably I probably would have retired after a year or two of doing that if I was in my 20s. I mean, it's insane the stuff they go through. So hopefully you boys and girls enjoyed that one, because I surely did, and it was a pleasure to get Todd on the podcast. Once again, we give till it hurts here.
That's
at Wheeling
right.
Wine and Whiskey. So
I'm in a lot of pain
great
right
stuff.
now just listening to that.
That's right.
Yeah, whiplash.
So, what else you got, Chris? You got some items of note there.
Well, I'm not going to go. Yeah, I do. I'm not going to go into deep detail because I just really glanced at it. But something came across my desk from the Blue Ribbon Coalition, and we've all been monitoring. That's a great website. If you don't go there or subscribe to their newsletter, you really should go. Just use Google to search Blue Ribbon Coalition.
Yes.
But this latest update is about Johnson Valley, that fight that's going on with the Marine Base 29 Palms,
That's right.
and the use of the airspace, and how it's a threat to the recreation that goes on out at Johnson Valley, whether it's just everyday recreation or weekenders or whatnot. But the real threat is towards this upcoming event called King of the Hammers. I'm sure our listeners have heard about it once or twice. It's a tiny event it's slowly growing, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be a big hit someday.
Yeah.
But as the crowd grows out there, there's obviously safety concerns, and just for the race, they need the airspace so that they can track the race and so forth, and fly their drones and it's for viewers, right? So people can spectate from their homes or whatever on the live stream. But I think even the more important part of that is rescue and recovery of injured drivers or spectators, or just any people that are recreating out in the open space out there. So if again, I didn't read it. This is 100,000 foot level, talk right now, but I'm going to include in the show notes. So there's a big update, and I'm going to include the link to that in the show notes. So if you're interested and you want to keep abreast of what's happening, click on that link in the notes, and you'll be as informed as we are.
Yeah, it's the Marine Corps Special Use Airspace. SUA is the proposal. R2509, which doesn't make any sense to any of us of what that is, but basically, yeah, we're in a waiting period right now.
That's correct.
Yeah, we still need comments. So go to Blue Ribbon, support, fill out the forms, make a comment, because, and even if you're not anywhere near Johnson Valley, you're on the East Coast, you know what Johnson Valley is. It's home of King of the Hammers. So as we've said before on this podcast, and we've heard from Ben Burr himself, it may not be a fight in your backyard right now, but it could turn into a fight in your backyard in the future. So we need to, all of us that are in the off-road community need to step up and help out, even if it's not in our backyard, but it still affects our brethren out there on the and in this case, it's in our backyard on the West Coast, but the next one could be on the East Coast. So, just do the right thing.
Do the right thing. And yeah, absolutely make your voice heard. And remember that this is, multiple agencies have vested interests in different things. And this obviously is the Marine Corps, and we love what they do. They defend our country. They're the first on the ground, boots on the ground when there's a conflict. And we absolutely respect them 100%. But, we need to be respectful of each other's, rights and so forth and so on. So, but this is the Marine Corps that's kind of rattling the cage a little bit, but it could be, environmental organizations that are not necessarily our friends. It could be, local agencies that are attacking our hobby or sport. So
exactly,
you never know where it's coming from, but you need to be aware of it.
Yep. 100%. So, all right. Well, there's that. You had something else, I think you said pre-show.
Well, this is going to be, let's call it the Thanksgiving episode. Do we want to
Thanksgiving week, the beginning of the holiday season for 2025. Holy hell. Where the fuck did the year go, Chris?
Dude, I don't even know. It's like, when we're kids, and I think we've mentioned it before on the show, time travels slow, but as you get older, it's like warp speed, Scotty. Ooh. So, it's crazy. I haven't even put my Christmas lights up on the house yet. And I'm usually the first one in the neighborhood to do that. And I'm not, there's like 4 other houses right now.
Yeah, that's happening this weekend at my house. I'm looking out right now. I see Christmas lights in our neighborhood. So it's pretty cool. Christmas holiday season is here. Thanksgiving turkey, cranberry sauce, and pie, pecan pie, pumpkin pie, stuffing.
Are you a candied yam guy or no?
I love candied yams. Oof. There's this yam dish that my family makes. It's, all mashed up with vanilla, and it's finished off with like these pecans on top. Oh, it's so good. So
really?
Good. Yeah. It's good. It's good the day of, and it's really good the day after. So, yeah.
I think leftovers are the best part of the whole
deal. It is. Thanksgiving dinner is awesome, but the next day,
building a big old Dagwood Sando.
That's what I'm talking about. Big old Sando with some cranberry sauce, turkey, maybe a little stuffing if you're getting a little crazy,
getting a little hungry.
Your doctor, your cardiologist doesn't know. Why not?
What time's dinner being served at the greenhouse?
We're like 4:00. We're early.
I'll be right there.
Yeah. So, right on, man.
Well, big shout out to all of our listeners. Happy Thanksgiving, and keep it safe and sane, right?
Keep it safe and sane. Don't light off any fireworks. We're not at Johnson Valley or 4th of July here, but hey, we're thankful for all our listeners, and 6 years into this thing, almost 7, making it happen, and appreciate you all for listening, and we appreciate your support. We give till it hurts, and we're making it happen here. So it's awesome. And getting, getting to interview some really cool freaking people, and we got some great stuff on the line in the future here that I'm looking forward to. So it just keeps going. We're gonna keep cranking along. We may be a day late here and there, but forgive us. We have our lives too, and day jobs and all kinds of shit going on. I don't know why, but it has been chaotic the last few weeks, and it shouldn't be. Based off of looking at 30,000 feet, but you come down to 5 feet at my level, and it's fucking chaos. And I know you've been going through some shit too. So
no doubt. So we just support each other and keep it going.
Not a dollar shirt.
Exactly. So how do they get a hold of us, Jason?
Well, we're going to do a holiday phone episode. Yeah. So call in if you want to be part of that. And that is 800-408 No, 408-800-5169. 800.
Jesus Christ.
Oh
408-800-5169.
It's been a long time. Love you long time.
Oh boy. It's going down.
408-800-5169. Call in. Be part of that. Rover Don and Cody the Sand Squirrel. We definitely expect phone calls from you gentlemen.
That's right. Calling them out.
Other people out there we need to hear from that if you're on the fence and go, I don't know. Haven't
heard from Arnold in a while.
Yeah, just call in. Let's hear it.
Or Christopher
Let's hear from some other podcast. Even the Toyota Suck podcast. I mean, Snail Trail podcast. You guys, welcome to call in. I know Jimmy listens.
That's right. So, you can also reach us on the IG at Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
Yep.
And you can also check out, we have email addresses, Chris@wheelingwineandwhiskey.com, Jason@wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. And hey, let's not forget to mention the merch at wheelingwineandwhiskey.com because it is the holiday season and you got to do some shopping, man. Get some of our cool stuff under the tree for your loved ones. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. And our website needs a little updating. I got to contact our web person, Tyler.
Webmaster.
And I've got 3 things on the list that have to be updated, but hopefully that'll be up here in the next couple days. But you can still reach our website and our merchandise site through there.
Absolutely.
And it literally, you place an order, you're going to get it in 3-4 days. So
and it's
pretty good.
Stuff.
I don't know as we get closer to Christmas if that's the case. So shop early, shop often.
And hey, don't forget about Irate 4x4, great supporter of the show, and of course the industry and the hobby and the sport. Irate4x4.com. Austin does a great job over there with what he's doing, and we appreciate him every single day. Absolutely.
Yes, he makes this podcast happen too. We've got Dirtbag Johnny, Tyler at Moreflate, and Austin at Irate that really are the backbone of the behind the scenes, the shit that nobody wants to talk about or do, but it's what keeps this podcast afloat, if you will, and on the airwaves. So with that, we are super thankful for you gentlemen. We are thankful for our listeners. We are thankful for off-roading, and God bless America. And with that, Chris,
we're out.